When I heard my biological parents wanted to bring me home, just to harvest one of my kidneys. For my younger brother who had kidney failure, I flat out refused to acknowledge them. But who would have thought they'd go straight to a professional mediation TV show? The moment I stepped on stage, the host took the moral high ground and started blasting me, constantly guilt-tripping me about filial piety. Chu fan, are you holding a grudge because your biological parents abandoned you as a child? A person should be forgiving. If you only care about your own petty feelings, then you're not a person of excellence. You don't deserve the title of top university scorer. As a son, you need to understand your parents' hardships. You'll have kids of your own someday, and your current behavior will make your kids think that you're a narrow-minded jerk. The host was wearing an expensive suit, one hand in his pocket, gesturing wildly with the other, and occasionally pointing right at my nose. He used his mighty, condescending stance to condemn my so-called coldness and selfishness. His sharp words felt like daggers stabbing right at me. If I refused to acknowledge them now, what awaited me would be endless backlash from netizens. Even the companies that had their eyes on me as a top scorer, waiting for me to graduate to sign a contract, would probably lose all their goodwill toward me. Yet, I kept a completely cold expression. Are you done talking? The host was stunned for a moment, not expecting that after all that ranting. It still remained totally unfazed. He was about to open his mouth to lecture me again when I shot him an icy glare. Host, this is a mediation show, right? The host froze, then instinctively answered, yes. I sneered. Since this is a mediation program, a mediator should consider the standpoints of both sides, striving to ensure both parties are satisfied. Yet you stubbornly sided with this couple, blabbering endlessly to force me into accepting their mistakes and forgiving them for abandoning me, and if I don't accept it, then there's something wrong with my character. Tell me, are you a judge or the moral police? With just one sentence, you judge another person's character. You insist on forcing me to acknowledge these strangers, people who never gave me a single grain of rice or a sip of water, people who never once cared about my feelings. Is this the kind of character you have as a host? Is this your so-called professionalism as a mediator? By using this method of forcing one side to compromise, you shouldn't be called a mediator. You should be called a street thug. Whoever pays you is your sugar daddy. Whoever pays you, you become their mouthpiece. You rely entirely on your own preferences and personal values. To conduct mediation, whoever pays a higher appearance fee, you speak up for them. Being a mediator like this, are you even worthy of the TV audience? Let me ask you one last thing. Have you ever received professional training? Do you have any relevant psychological counseling certifications? I suspect you're a three-nose host. No certification, no morals, and no competence. The host was so pissed he looked ready to explode. I interrupted him in a stern voice. Shut up, show me your license before you say another word. Otherwise, you have no right to stand on this stage. This host didn't have a single certification. In the beginning, he purely relied on his sharp tongue to make a name for himself online. Later, he took shortcuts, gaining traction by intentionally attacking big stars, acting as a truth-exposing expert before finally becoming a host. I shifted my gaze back to my biological parents. That icy stare made Mr. and Mrs. Chu tremble involuntarily. How could you treat the host with such an attitude? Has only saying those things for your own good. Ma'am, you said you felt guilty about abandoning me and wanted me back to make up for it. So how do you plan to make it up to me, letting me inherit the family estate? How do you plan to make it up to me, letting me inherit the family estate? As far as I know, the Chu family still has another son, has the legitimate heir. If I go back, then as the older brother, shouldn't the position of heir belong to me? So the reason you're begging me so pitifully today is because you want me to go home and inherit the family fortune. Hearing this, my biological mother instinctively blurted out, how is that possible? The Chu family belongs to Chu Cheng. There's no way she stopped mid-sentence. Realizing she had misspoken, she immediately changed her tune, putting on a look of extreme agony. Chu fan, I didn't expect that being away from us all these years would breed such a greedy personality in you. You just got here, and you're already after the Chu family's wealth? But forget it, this is also our fault. We weren't there to raise you from a young age. Once you return to the Chu family, we'll provide you with a better education to reshape your worldview. I wasn't moved in the slightest by my biological mother's touching words. I waited for her to finish before replying. So, you guys just want to alleviate the regret and guilt in your hearts without caring whether I'm willing or not. There's no actual substantial compensation either. It's all just empty talk. My biological mother froze for a moment, and a look of even deeper hurt appeared on her face, as if she had just taken 10,000 points of critical damage. How could you think of us like that? We want to acknowledge you again, specifically to make up for how we neglected you in the past. We are completely sincere. If you have any requests, just say the word. I kept a cold expression on my face, while sneering endlessly in my heart, sincere about targeting my kidney. More like it. However, I pretended to be slightly stunned, as if moved by my biological mother's touching words. With a hint of anticipation on my face, I asked, Really, you want to bring me back into the family, and sincerely want to make it up to me. You're planning to let me be the eldest young master of the Chu group and become the #1 heir. So that's how it is. I misunderstood you guys. My biological father maintained a stern expression and began delivering his heartfelt speech. Chu fan. The Chu family's business is meant to be passed down to an outstanding child. Cheng Cheng has received an excellent education since he was young, growing up immersed in it. He is naturally the most suitable heir. As for you, we will use other ways to make it up to you. Well, let you be a wealthy young master of the Chu family, so you won't have to worry about food and clothing for the rest of your life. I cursed inwardly. Their so-called compensation was to first dig out one of my kidneys, then lock me up and raise me like livestock. Look, you don't even have to work, and you still have food, drinks, and a place to live. We treat you so well. See, my biological mother said with an earnest expression. This is the best arrangement for you. You have no experience, so you wouldn't be able to manage the company anyway. It would only bring you more stress. I replied with a cold look. But didn't the host just say that I'm a student at a prestigious university with excellent grades and a bright future? He said I have all these capabilities, solely thanks to inheriting my biological parents' superior genes. Since I inherited your superior genes, how could I possibly mismanage the company? I heard Chu Cheng goes to a third-rate business college. With my little brother's grades, managing a company must be incredibly stressful for him. If I return to the Chu family, I must absolutely shoulder the responsibilities of the eldest brother. My biological parents retorted in unison. You're a kid raised by a peasant couple. What right do you have to inherit the company? You should be thanking your lucky stars that you get to return to the Chu family as a rich young master. A kid raised by farmers, yet harboring such massive ambition. You actually want to seize our family's assets. My biological mother couldn't hold back anymore and glared at the host standing nearby. The host immediately stepped forward, pointing sternly at my nose and scolding. These are your biological parents. You share the same blood. This unbreakable familial bond cannot be measured with money. You receive a good basic education and even a college education, yet you only know how to fixate on your parents' wealth. You've completely disgraced millions of college students with this kind of behavior of yours. The moment you step off this stage today, you will be despised by your elders tomorrow, despised by your classmates. You'll never be able to hold your head high for the rest of your life. The host spoke with such intensity that his chest heaved continuously. His face turned bright red. That oppressive aura, if it were an ordinary person, they would have been scared out of their wits by now, but I remained completely unmoved. My expression plain and indifferent. I received a good mandatory education, thanks to my adoptive parents and the welfare of this country. I've always kept in mind to repay my adoptive parents and repay the country. You mentioned millions of college students. Did they sign a joint petition asking you to speak on their behalf? Or are you the president of some prestigious university, qualifying you to represent millions of college students? Chu fan, we genuinely want to bring you back into the family. We know we wronged you, and we know you have resentment in your heart. I'm begging you, please give us this chance to make it up to you. Please, I'm begging you. Seeing the host's efforts failing, my biological mother directly played the sympathy card. She threw herself at me, hugging me and wailing pitifully. This time, she wasn't as restrained as before. She was no longer silently wiping away her tears, but crying a river, like a burst dam. At the same time, incredibly touching background music started playing. Just listening to this music was enough to make even the calmest person shed a tear. Let alone having a biological mother like this, an actress full of touching emotions and supposed guilt, manipulating everyone's feelings. Sure enough, many guests and audience members at the scene couldn't help but cry along with her. Why don't you try forgiving them? They've already lowered themselves to beg you like this. They're over 40 years old, setting aside their pride in front of so many people. That's not easy at all. Back then, people couldn't even feed themselves, let alone raise a son. They had no other choice. Now they've realized their mistake. Giving them a chance to make amends won't cost you anything. Almost everyone was siding with my biological parents, but I was completely isolated from my surroundings. My heart didn't waver in the slightest. At the same time, I contacted my system. Amo, help me change the background music. After giving the order, I looked at my biological mother holding me tight, acting as if she wouldn't let go until I forgave her. I even patted her back as if to comfort her. Only the force of those pats on her back was like pounding her with a hammer. My voice also carried a trace of sorrow. I really had no idea. So you guys have always been this guilty and heartbroken. Since that's the case, hearing these words, my biological mother thought I had been swayed by the atmosphere. She cried even harder. It's all my fault. Give me a chance to make up for my mistakes all these years, and I will definitely love you with all my heart. Just when everyone thought I was ready to forgive my parents, for a perfect, happy ending for everyone, the touching background music abruptly vanished. My biological mother's arrogant voice echoed out instead. No matter what, we have to make Chu fan accept us. Make him agree to come back to the Chu family with us. Cheng Cheng's condition can't wait any longer. Right after, the host's voice also echoed throughout the studio. No problem. I guarantee the Chu fan will acknowledge you right here on the show. I'm a professional. When it comes to this kind of thing, as for the compensation, we might need to renegotiate. After all, he's a grown man, and his mind is mature. It'll take a lot more effort to convince him. Besides, the situation is urgent. It has to succeed on the first try. After all, your son is still waiting for a kidney transplant, isn't he? Then came my biological mother's voice again. It'll transfer half the fee up front. The other half will be paid once it's done. Transferred to your other account. The recording studio suddenly fell into a dead silence. The audio recording was still playing, but as for the rest of the words, no one could hear a thing. Only words like critical condition and kidney transplant echoed in their minds. The host froze for 2 seconds before reacting, screaming frantically at the backstage crew. The music. The music. Turn the damn music off. The backstage music director rushed out, looking completely shocked. What's wrong? You can't turn it off. Then pull the plug. The host, acting like he was possessed, dashed onto the stage and frantically yanked out all the power cords. A tangled mess of wires twisted tightly together, connected to various lights and cameras, were all ripped out and violently thrown to the ground in a heap, sizzling and sparking. The entire recording studio plunged into chaos. Several cameras and light stands crashed into each other, sending shards of shattered glass and plastic flying everywhere. The scene then fell into dead silence. The host was dripping with sweat, as the eyes of everyone around locked onto him, looking like they wanted to riddle him with holes. So it turns out you just want my kidney? You never genuinely wanted to make it up to me. I put on a deeply hurt expression, covering my face with one hand. I really can't face any of this. I spun around and bolted off the stage. As I ran past the host, I gave him a hard shove. Get out of my way, don't block me. With that push of mine, the host was sent flying backwards, landing flat on his back into the tangled pile of wires. What followed was a sharp buzzed. His entire body violently convulsed in an instant. A bizarre, manic shriek echoed through the studio, accompanied by the stench of burning hair. After leaving the TV crew behind, I relied on my memories to return to my rented room. Having just finished the college entrance exams, and not yet enrolled, I came to the city where the university was located to settle in early, and pick up a part-time job to earn some tuition money since I had just transmigrated, and my soul hadn't completely merged with this body yet. I felt a bit exhausted. I lay down on the simple bed and quickly fell asleep. But not long after I dozed off, the doorbell started ringing like there was no tomorrow. Annoyed, I struggled to sit up and went to open the door. The moment the door opened, I was met with a stunningly arrogant face that looked down on everything. I froze for a second. Before I could even process who was standing there, the woman pushed the door open and barged in. She quickly scanned her surroundings, making no effort to hide her disgust. She arrogantly intended to take a seat on the sofa, only to find a cheap stool instead, and ultimately gave up on the idea. The woman flicked her wrist, throwing a stack of documents straight at my feet. This is the contract. Sign it. I lowered my head and glanced at it, my eyebrow twitching involuntarily. It turned out to be a kidney purchasing agreement. Without a doubt, this must be the peacock-like, arrogant female lead of this world. Yi Xiao. Sign it right now. Chu Cheng's condition. Can't wait a second longer. Yi Xiao's voice was freezing cold and left no room for debate, like a high and mighty queen ordering around her servant. I didn't bother picking up the contract from the floor. Looking at Yi Xiao's condescending attitude, I had the sudden urge to grab a meat cleaver and shave her head completely bald. Seeing that I didn't say anything, the fury in Yi Xiao's eyes blazed even fiercer. What, you think it's not enough money? Before I could answer, she threw me another icy glare. You should know that you're just a recent high school grad, not even officially a college student yet. The price I'm offering is already double the black market rate. Don't be greedy and push your luck. If you know what's good for you, sign it. Then come to the hospital with me right now. The money will be transferred promptly. Is this a forced sale? This kidney buying scene wasn't in the original plot, because the original host was just drugged and dragged onto the operating table. There was no need to spend a dime on him. Although the plot has changed now, the female lead you owe us attitude hasn't changed one bit. Thinking back to the original plot, after the host woke up with his kidney gone, what did the female-led Yi Xiao say? Chu Cheng is the man I love most in this life, and the most noble man of all. You giving it to him is totally worth it. I won't treat you badly. If a kidney is considered valuable, then wouldn't leaving it in my body be a waste? When the original owner said he didn't need any repayment and just wanted his kidney back, what did the female lead say? Stop being so unreasonable. Chu Cheng is the eldest young master of the Chu family, and he is my, Yi Xiao's, man. In the future, he'll also be the male master of the Yi group. He must have a healthy body. Meanwhile, you're just an ordinary university student from the countryside. At best, you'll just be a wage slave for others your entire life. If you can trade one kidney for a lifetime of wealth and glory, You should know when to be satisfied. Thinking about this, my temples throbbed wildly. Just leave. In not selling, Yi Xiao acted as if she had just heard the most ridiculous joke, and let out a cold sneer. You really are a country bumpkin. Such boundless greed. I'll add another 2 million. My mouth twitched. Not selling, Yi Xiao's face screamed. Don't refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. An extra 3 million. Still not selling. 4 million. The veins on my forehead throbbed even harder. Does this woman not understand human language? Yi Xiao's face darkened, as if looking at something filthy. 5 million. Not a cent more, plus the 5 million in the contract. That's 10 million in total. I'll say it again. Not selling. This time, Yi Xiao was truly furious. She took a step forward, closing in on me, trying to suppress me with her overbearing aura, scheming to force my submission, but it was as if I had a level 100 shield. I didn't feel the slightest bit of pressure from this female lead. After a few seconds of a standoff, Yi Xiao finally spoke up. Chu Fan, do you know the consequences of pissing me off? Right now, I'm still negotiating with you nicely. If you agree, you can still walk away with a massive sum of money you wouldn't be able to make in your entire lifetime. The woman narrowed her incomparably arrogant eyes. But if you don't know what's good for you and keep pushing your luck, then don't blame me for getting ugly. I shoved my hands into my pockets and looked at her leisurely. Pray tell, how exactly are you going to get ugly? Yi Xiao scoffed coldly. You haven't gone to the university to register yet, have you? Do you know how many people have accidents right before enrollment and get their admission revoked? Without the status of a prestigious university student, all your hard work, studying, and taking exams, you wouldn't want it all to go down the drain at the last minute, would you? I raised an eyebrow. Are you threatening me? Planning on a forced transaction? Yi Xiao sneered again. She didn't spell it out, but her eyes made it perfectly clear. I looked at her like she was an absolute idiot. Do you know that organ trafficking is illegal? Yi Xiao looked at me like she was watching a comedy. Instead of answering my question directly, she arrogantly declared, there has never been a thing that I, Yi Xiao, wanted, that I couldn't get. So you're deliberately breaking the law. I thought for a moment. In the original plot, the female lead relied on all sorts of power and schemes, treating the law like nothing, and viewing all moral standards as complete trash. Regardless, as long as it was for the male lead, as long as she could spoil him, everything else could be trampled underfoot. My mouth twitched. You really have no bottom line, Yi Xiao. She had truly run out of patience. She felt that talking to me for this long was already a massive act of grace. Seeing me still stubbornly refusing to submit, she immediately gave a signal, preparing to have her men rush in and restrain me. To force me to sign the papers, Yi Xiao shouted toward the door. Get in here. Right after, several police officers appeared at the door. Seeing this, Yi Xiao was dumbfounded. The police asked directly, who here reported a case of trespassing? I immediately raised my hand, then pointed at Yi Xiao. Not only is this person trespassing, but she's also attempting forced organ trafficking. She even has several of her goons waiting outside. She planned to just rob me if she couldn't buy it. Truly a prime example of the criminal underworld. Save me. After saying that, I ran behind the police officers. I cowered, pretending to tremble in fear. Then I pointed at the contract on the ground. Look, officers, that contract on the ground is the proof. A police officer picked up the contract. They all took a look at it, and their expressions instantly turned cold. This is outrageous. In broad daylight, how dare you commit such an illegal act? Take them away. Yi Xiao frowned. Maintaining her cold, overbearing CEO aura, she haughtily explained, officers, this is all a misunderstanding. This contract is invalid. It hasn't even been signed. I interrupted. If it were signed, it'd be done for. If it were signed, would you claim that our transaction was complete? And that since it's just business, the police wouldn't have the right to interfere. Hearing this, the officers' faces grew even sterner. They glared at Yi Xiao, as if looking at an unforgivable criminal. Two officers even got into a tactical stance, ready to draw their weapons. Explain. For a domineering CEO like Yi Xiao, explaining herself was beneath her. So she said coldly, you want to arrest me? Let's see if you even have what it takes. Then, Yi Xiao let out a cold snort. The bodyguards who had been standing guard outside, the ones she brought to rough me up, all rushed in at once. Their aura was fierce and imposing. Seeing Yi Xiao pull this stunt, I was practically blinded by her audacity. She's been the main character for so long, used to acting arrogant and overbearing, relying on her wealth and power, that she totally forgot the people standing in front of her were actual law enforcement officers. They were police officers protecting public order. Sure enough, the officers moved in unison. They neatly drew the firearms from their holsters, aiming the pitch-black muzzles right at Yi Xiao and her guards. Those guys instantly froze in their tracks. A fight was completely out of the question now. In the end, Yi Xiao and her bodyguards were all taken away. As they walked out of my house, the police even kindly comforted me and left their contact info. The criminal underworld is really running rampant these days. If you notice anything unusual, contact us immediately. We'll also send people to keep an eye on you. just in case they try to retaliate. I nodded and thanked the officers, then looked into Yi Xiao's eyes, which looked like they wanted to eat me alive. I flashed her a bright, toothy smile. Do they have what it takes to arrest you? Have you figured that out by now? Yi Xiao gritted her teeth in rage. Chu Fan, you've got guts. Just you wait. Smack before Yi Xiao could even finish. The lead officer smacked her hard on the back of the head. How dare you threaten the victim right in front of us? You really think you're above the law? Take her back and investigate thoroughly. Let's see what other illegal acts she's committed. Yi Xiao and her gang were hauled away. The world was finally quiet. I let out a yawn and went back to catch up on my sleep. The next day, following my memories, I headed to my part-time job. I was there to quit. The original owner's greatest wish was to have a complete and healthy body. As an outstanding task taker, I figured I needed to thoroughly fulfill this wish of his, so I decided to quit and find another job. Just after I finished talking to the boss about resigning and walked out of the office, I bumped into someone. Chu Fan, how did acknowledging your family go yesterday? Did it go well? Don't tell me you've already become a young master of a wealthy, upper-class family. That's so great. You'll have endless money to spend from now on. Suddenly, a male student appeared in front of me, about my age, wearing a waiter's uniform. At first glance, you could tell he was working part-time for tuition. I sifted through the plot's memories and knew clearly that this was the guy who tricked me into working for the TV crew, resulting in me being confusingly shoved onto the broadcast stage. Fang Qiang. His words were full of admiration and congratulations. But he couldn't hide the sour jealousy in his tone, no matter how hard he tried. There was even a hint of envy in his eyes. Just like me, Fang Qiang was also a student about to start college. We're from the same hometown and will even be classmates in the future. Of course, the original owner of this body was the top scorer in the college entrance exam, while Fang Qiang was dead last. If the number of applicants to this school had been even slightly higher, he wouldn't have stood a chance. Due to a bunch of overlapping circumstances, the two of them became friends after meeting. We worked together, and our relationship was pretty good. I even used to trust him. I just never expected him to trick me into going on that TV show and dig such a massive hole for me. What did Fang Qiang say after that incident? I just had good intentions. A country bumpkin from a rural village. If you really are the long-lost young master of the prestigious Chu family, wouldn't you be striking it rich? It's something others would die of jealousy over. If I were you, I'd be praying for something this good to happen to me. Too bad I'm not destined for wealth. As your friend, I hoped you could reunite with your biological parents. I just wanted to help you out. For my own good, I glanced at Fang Qiang's expression, clearly seeing the deep-seated jealousy hidden in his eyes, being so petty and jealous that I was about to change my life and become a wealthy young master. Then why would he help set this up? He must have received quite a lot of benefits behind my back. How much money did that couple give you? I looked coldly at Fang Qiang. Fang Qiang was stunned for a moment. He completely didn't expect me to ask that. His eyes flickered briefly, but he quickly suppressed it. What are you talking about? I just hope you can reunite with your biological parents, return to your family, and become a wealthy young master. Look, aren't you doing great right now? You even came here to resign. You don't have to worry about a few $1,000 for tuition anymore. Unlike me, who still has to work my butt off at a part-time job, Fang Qiang let out a sigh. His words were dripping with jealousy. How about you put in a good word for me with your parents? Arrange a cushy, high-paying job for me at the Chu Group. I looked at Fang Qiang's face. How could someone be so shamelessly thick-skinned? I'm not acknowledging them. Hearing this, a look of utter disbelief washed over Fang Qiang's face. Seeing that I wasn't joking around, a flash of relief appeared in his eyes. Then he immediately feigned a look of regret. Why wouldn't you? That's Mr. and Mrs. Chu. They're local tycoons. I took a step forward, closing the distance between Fang Qiang and me. I stared straight at him, as if peering right through his soul. Do you have any idea why they suddenly want me back? Fang Qiang awkwardly averted his gaze. Isn't it because they wanted to find their own flesh and blood? What other reason could there be? If a massive stroke of luck like this fell into anyone else's lap, they'd be over the moon. Only he would act all pretentious about it. Could it be that he just wants to play hard to get, so his biological parents feel even more guilty and treat him better in the future? Has so young, but so incredibly scheming. Mr. and Mrs. Chu were so generous to me. Doesn't that prove their sincerity in wanting him back? Fang Qiang thought to himself, feeling even more disdain for me in his heart. I advise you to quit while you're ahead. Don't push it. Be careful or this might just backfire on you. I cut him off. They want my kidney to save their precious younger son. Chu Cheng has kidney failure. Fang Qiang was completely dumbfounded for a moment, but he quickly regained his composure and self-righteously argued, even if that's true, you still can't just disown your family. Blood is thicker than water. You're all from the same family. Besides, has your biological younger brother. If it's already at the point where he needs a transplant, his condition must be critical. You're perfectly healthy. Losing one kidney isn't going to kill you. What's wrong with helping your own brother out? Trading a single kidney for a lifetime of wealth and luxury. Other people would kill for an opportunity like this. I sneered. If you think it's such a great opportunity, why don't I give it to you instead? Fang Qiang instantly got defensive and shot back. How could that even work? Then hastily added, besides, I'm not related to the young master of the Goof family, so it definitely won't work. I sneered. That's not necessarily true. Kidney compatibility depends on fate, not bloodlines. Who knows? Maybe you're destined for wealth and glory. Come on. Let's go to the hospital right now and test your compatibility. I'm sure the Chu family would be more than happy to cover your medical fees, I said, reaching out to grab Fang Qiang. Terrified, Fang Qiang backed away repeatedly and bolted straight into the staff locker room. I have to get back to work. I'm done talking to you. With a loud bang, he slammed the locker room door shut and bolted it from the inside. I stared at the tightly shut door, let out a cold sneer, and turned away. After quitting, I immediately started looking for a new job. If I wanted a healthy body, just eating and sleeping well wasn't going to cut it. I needed regular physical training. The best place for that was a gym, but gyms were hiring certified trainers, and I didn't have a certification. I didn't have any experience either. So after walking around for a bit, I finally stepped into a boxing club. In this world, boxing was highly regarded. Many rich kids with too much free time on their hands would come here to throw a few punches. As for whether they were just showing off or actually working out, that was a different story. The position I applied for was a sparring partner. Sparring required a tough physique. This body of mine was just that of an ordinary college student. It wasn't built like a tank, nor was it aristocratically frail, but I possessed a powerful soul and spiritual energy. Even with an average physique, I could still coat myself in spiritual energy. To form a protective shield, the manager of the boxing club saw me, a scrawny kid, wanting to be a sparring partner, and immediately tried to kick me out. I stubbornly refused to leave, and ended up hanging from a pull-up bar nearby for an entire hour. That actually shocked him. And he finally agreed to give me a shot. Even if you've got some arm strength, this job isn't for ordinary people. You'll see what I mean in a bit. The club staff geared me up. After I put on my protective gear, the manager said that to me. Then, he watched me step into the ring and send my opponent flying with a single punch. Everyone was instantly dumbfounded. Sorry about that. I accidentally fought back. Let's do it again. I won't fight back this time. I scratched my head guiltily and said to the manager. The guy who got blasted out of the ring was also a sparring partner. He had some basic boxing skills, so getting sent flying out of nowhere bruised his ego. He quickly scrambled to his feet. I wasn't ready just now. Let's go again. So, we went at it again. This time, I did it on purpose. Yeah, on purpose to hold back from hitting him, but I just kept dodging, and dodging. He couldn't land a single hit on me no matter what. Finally, infuriated, he let out a roar and lunged at me with a wild swing. I leaned aside to dodge, and he crashed straight into the ring ropes. Before tumbling out of bounds, he wasn't hurt, but he completely lost face. In the end, I was hired. It wasn't a full-time gig. I just needed to show up for 4 hours every evening. For someone like me who was about to start the new school semester, it was pretty much perfect. Back at my rented room, since I didn't have a computer, I had to ask the system to post some news online for me. The content of the post was very simple, just 2 headlines. The first, the Chu group has found their abandoned eldest son and is preparing to welcome him home. The second, Chu Cheng is suffering from uremia and needs a kidney transplant, but a donor has yet to be found. These 2 posts didn't explicitly mention any connection, but that wouldn't stop the internet sleuths from putting 2 and 2 together. Someone even dug up my interview from when I was the top university scorer. In an instant, these 2 news stories went insanely viral on the internet, sparking countless related topics. The top university scorer is actually the long-lost eldest son of the Chu family. The Chu group welcomes back their eldest son just to harvest his kidney for his younger brother. The eldest son trades his life for the second son. Instantly, the internet exploded with endless discussions. I was eating my instant noodles while scrolling through the system, enjoying the massive flame war among the netizens, thinking to myself, the moral compass of the netizens in this world is actually pretty normal, isn't it? Even though this small world has a few bugs and the protagonists have twisted values, the vast majority of the public still has common sense. The system, Mo, chimed in. The protagonist's aura is extremely strong, but it only affects the people directly around them. However, just that alone is enough to distort the fate of this small world. I know. I took a huge slurp of my noodles and mumbled as I chewed. So isn't this why you need me to step in, tear apart their protagonist aura, and restore order to this small world? Meanwhile, Yi Xiao was taken away by the police, severely lectured and reprimanded for 2 days, and only after pulling some strings and paying bail was she barely let out. Returning to her villa, she was furious, immediately smashing a decorative vase in the hall. Outrageous. She had never been played for a fool like this before. This was a blatant provocation. To think a wet-behind-the-ears college student would dare to provoke her. The dignified CEO of the Yi Group Somebody Yi Xiao vented her anger on the butler and her assistant before barking out orders. Send someone to tie up Chu Fan and bring him here immediately. Also, contact S University and tell them to revoke Chu Fan's admission. The assistant stood beside her, trembling, and timidly asked, Boss Yi, on what grounds? Yi Xiao swept her cold, domineering CEO gaze over him and said arrogantly, Do I have to handle something like this myself? What do I even pay you for? The assistant shivered. Yi, yes, understood. Seeing the butler still standing there, Yi Xiao shot him a cold glare. What are you just standing there for? Get moving. Seeing the assistant getting yelled at, the butler didn't dare say a word and immediately called some bodyguards to the door. Just then, Yi Xiao received a phone call from Chu Cheng. All of her intense anger instantly dissipated, melting into absolute tenderness. All right, be good. I'm heading to the hospital right now. Wait for me. As soon as Yi Xiao heard that Chu Cheng missed her, she rushed straight to the hospital. When the attending doctor saw Yi Xiao, he pulled her aside to talk privately. His condition is not very optimistic. If we can't find a kidney donor, he won't live for more than 6 months. Yi Xiao instantly went crazy and grabbed the doctor by the collar. Doctor, if you can't save him, I'll bury this entire hospital with him. Inside the ward, Chu Cheng spoke up. Sister Yi, is he unwilling to do it? If he doesn't want to, I don't blame him. Even though I really love my brother, I really love Mom and Dad, I really want more time to stay with Mom, Dad, and him. But since he refuses, I can't force him to. I can only blame my own terrible fate. Chu Cheng choked up as he spoke. Yi Xiao hastily grabbed his hand. You fool. Don't say things like that. You're still young. You have a long road ahead of you. No matter how much money it costs, I will definitely cure you. Chu Cheng pressed his pale lips together. He doesn't want to. We can't just rob him of it. It'd feel way too guilty. After all, he is my biological brother. I truly can't bear to force him to give up a kidney to save my life. But Sister Yi, I really can't bear to leave you. I still want to be healthy. To hold your hand and walk down the aisle. To become your husband and grow old lovingly with you. I guess I've let you down. I'm sorry. Yi Xiao looked absolutely heartbroken. Chu Cheng, I won't allow you to say such discouraging things. You belong to me. Your life is mine too. I won't let you die, so you can't die. Don't worry. I will definitely save you. Yi Xiao and Chu Cheng embraced affectionately in the hospital room for a while. It looked just like a tragic final parting. Meanwhile, outside the ward, Mr. and Mrs. Chu listened to their conversation, wiping their tears continuously. Watching through the surveillance system on my end, I didn't feel the slightest bit moved or sympathetic. It was just sickening to watch. Sure, you're seriously ill, but what does that have to do with me? It's not like I caused it. I then asked the system, Amo, tell me, if I don't save the male lead, and he dies, will his protagonist halo automatically disappear? Will the order of this world return to normal? AMO replied seriously. It's hard to say. The halo's effect is incredibly strong. This minor interference won't make a huge impact. I was just asking. After all, I've completed quite a few missions before. Expecting the male lead to just drop dead from a little interference is absolutely impossible. Back in the ward, the tearjerker of a conversation between Yi Xiao and Chu Zheng finally ended. Chu Zheng, just wait here. I'm going to find Chu Fan. Whatever it takes, I will force him to give you his kidney. After saying that, Yi Xiao strode out the door. Her eyes were filled with determination. Looking as if she were about to embark on some heroic, world-saving crusade, she coldly gave an order to the assistant waiting by the door. She told them to hire an internet troll army and spread the news everywhere that Chu Fan refused to acknowledge his biological parents, make it go completely viral. Also, drop heavy hints that he was just extorting them for money, push it to the top of the trending searches, make him public enemy #1 in this city. She refused to believe that a naive brat with zero real-world experience could withstand the crushing pressure of public opinion, and if the cyberbullying pushed him to suicide, even better. That would save them the trouble of dragging him to the operating table. Also, tell the people at the company that Chu Zheng is away on a training retreat for the next couple of days. Do not let the news of his illness leak out. Keep the fans and paparazzi from bothering him. To her, Chu Zheng was a precious treasure. She wouldn't let those nobodies disturb him. But the moment Yi Xiao finished speaking, a loud commotion erupted from the hallway outside. Several reporters rushed over with their cameras. As soon as they spotted Yi Xiao, they immediately sprinted toward her. Ms. Yi, we've heard rumors that you're dating an artist from your agency, who also happens to be the young master of the Chu family, right? Caught completely off guard, Yi Xiao was instantly surrounded by the reporters. One reporter immediately noticed the nameplate outside the hospital room. It read Chu. The name Chu Zheng sent them into a frenzy. Just like the rumors online said, Chu Zheng is seriously ill, has been hiding it all this time. Is it true? What's his current condition? Does he need a kidney transplant? An insider online revealed that Chu Zheng wants to use the kidney of his long-lost biological brother. Is that why he purposely went looking for him? We heard his brother refused to acknowledge the family, and you guys even resorted to threats. Is this true? Then the reporters spotted Mr. and Mrs. Chu. Half of the crowd immediately swarmed them. Mr. Chu, Mrs. Chu, you've never mentioned before that you have an eldest son. Everyone thought Chu Zhang was the only heir to the Chu family. Is it because Chu Zhang needs a kidney now that you finally wanted to bring him back? Did you two already know that this year's top university scorer, Chu Fan, is your biological son, but you never had any intention of claiming him until you actually needed his organs? Is that the only reason you want to acknowledge him? The sudden ambush by the reporters caught Mr. and Mrs. Chu and Yi Xiao completely off guard. They had no idea how to respond. Their minds were racing with only one thought. How did all of this get leaked to the public? Who did this? Now that everything was exposed in broad daylight, how were they going to secretly harvest my kidney for Chu Zhang's transplant? Because of this, Yi Xiao and her accomplices were thrown into a complete panic. After scrambling around for quite a while, they finally managed to get rid of the reporters. That's right, got rid of them. They didn't politely escort them out. The incident happened so suddenly, they had absolutely no idea how to respond. So they had to use heavy-handed tactics to drive them out of the hospital. The reporters hadn't gotten any solid news yet, but they looked as if they already knew everything, excitedly rushing back to their news agencies while chattering away. Chu Cheng was woken up by the noisy reporters when he found out his situation had been exposed online. And subjected to such malicious speculation, he couldn't stop crying. Why? Even when I'm already sick, are people still falsely accusing me? Those reporters just want clickbait and traffic. They'll write the darkest, most twisted things imaginable. My fans are going to misunderstand me. It will break my loyal fans' hearts if they find out I hid my illness because I didn't want them to worry. It was supposed to be a white lie. If those reporters go back and write a bunch of nonsense, won't my fans be even more worried? Chu Cheng, even at a time like this, you're still wholeheartedly thinking of others. You're truly too kind, too soft-hearted. Seeing how kind-hearted Chu Cheng was, that even when maliciously judged by others, he still constantly thought of them. Yi Xiao only felt her affection for him grow, so she quickly comforted him. Don't worry. Those reporters won't dare write any nonsense. They'll give their companies a warning. Just focus on resting and recovering. Don't let yourself get too agitated. Yi Xiao leaned down and gently kissed Chu Cheng on the forehead. As soon as she turned around, the tenderness in her eyes instantly turned to ice. Which companies did those reporters from earlier belong to? How dare they run to the hospital and harass my Chu Cheng? I don't want to see their companies exist by tomorrow. Seeing this scene, I couldn't help but roll my eyes in disdain. Is she trying to pull the classic bankrupt them for my lover routine? Too bad she won't be bankrupting anyone this time, because I was the one who leaked the information through the system, and those reporters weren't all just local ones. Even though Yi Xiao is a domineering CEO, she can only throw her weight around in this city. Who would give a damn about her anywhere else? In the end, Yi Xiao's touching hospital scene still got exposed to the public because Yi Xiao and the Chu parents didn't give an explanation. It turned the netizens' speculations into accepted truth. The online backlash only grew more fierce. Chu Cheng was heavily affected as well. Some even sent a few private messages to his Weibo account, saying some pretty nasty things. When Chu Cheng scrolled through his phone and saw them, he instantly broke down in tears. Why? I clearly haven't done anything. Why are they cursing me like this? Who is this person? I don't even know them. Yet they deliberately left comments just to insult me. Could it be my brother? He doesn't want to save me, and I don't blame him for that. But why would he maliciously frame me? Seeing this, Yi Xiao and the Chu parents were heartbroken for him. They secretly cursed me out to no end. If I had heard their words, I would have just chuckled. What they're going through right now. Isn't it exactly what the Chu parents once did to me? Using the show's influence to pressure me, forcing me to donate a kidney to Chu Cheng. Did he really not know about the Chu parents taking me onto that TV show? Did he not know that if I refused, it would lead to moral condemnation against me? He knew, but did he do anything about it? And what about Yi Xiao trying to use public pressure to coerce me? For a supposedly weak and helpless student like Chu Cheng, who has been her childhood friend for over a decade, when she told him she would handle everything, could he really not guess what she planned to do? And yet, did he ask a single question? Others do everything for him, and all he has to do is sit back and reap the benefits. Now that everything is exposed, he puts on an act of I don't know anything. I'm completely innocent, and complains about being scolded because the fans' attention was so high. Yi Xiao had no choice but to handle things personally. For a moment, she was so busy she was pulling her hair out. Now that she had lost the initiative, she obviously couldn't go online to smear me anymore. Just clearing her own name was taking everything she had. Furious, Yi Xiao scolded her assistant once again. That evening, I put on my boxing gear, punching the sandbag relentlessly. Two young men walked over together. Clearly, they were regulars. Seeing my noticeably slight build, they couldn't help but take a few more looks. After watching for a while and seeing my proper form on the punching bag, they approached me. Hey, are you a new member? How come we've never seen you around here before? I didn't say a word. I just kept punching. The sandbag echoed with heavy thuds. The two young men immediately felt ignored and couldn't help but get angry. I'm talking to you. Are you completely clueless as a newcomer? Don't you know the difference between a regular and a newbie around here? At this moment, the coach who had interviewed me rushed over. He was enthusiastic and respectful toward the two young men. I'm so sorry. This is a new sparring trainee. He doesn't know the rules yet. Please excuse him. Young Master Chen and Young Master Zhang. Chu Fan, come here. Hurry up and apologize to Young Master Chen and Young Master Zhang. As soon as I heard how they were addressed, I knew right away. These two were your typical rich playboys straight out of a novel, but since he had already spoken up, I stopped and looked at them. With this turn, my figure was fully exposed to their eyes. The two rich playboys couldn't help but look surprised. From the side earlier, my boxing form looked solid, and I just seemed a bit short. They hadn't realized I was actually a scrawny sparring partner like this. Young Master Zhang looked at me in disbelief a few times. Then he criticized the coach. Can't the club hire anyone else? Why did you hire a twig to be a sparring partner? Are you trying to drive the members away? What a joke. One punch from me and his face will cave in. Fire him. The coach who interviewed me tried to explain, but the two of them just got even more arrogant. What are you saying? What do you mean? This snot-nosed kid actually passed the trial interview. Aren't you just insulting us? Seriously. He drags down the status of all the members in our club. The coach was suddenly in a tough spot. On one hand, he saw me as a promising talent. I was serious and hardworking. On the other hand, Young Master Zhang and Young Master Chen were both gold-tier members. He couldn't just ignore their opinions. At this moment, I spoke up. Whether I'm qualified to be a sparring partner or not, let's fight. Then we'll find out. After saying that, I hopped into the boxing ring with ease. My gaze locked onto the two rich playboys. My eyes were calm. Who's up first, you two rich kids? That rich kid instantly felt insulted. Young Master Zhang jumped right in. He didn't even put on boxing gloves. Let me teach you a lesson. I'll show you what an iron fist looks like. Young Master Zhang said as he swung his fist at me. A scrawny punk like you dares to act so tough. Even if I was wearing protective gear, he figured he could knock me out barehanded. Young Master Zhang came at me aggressively. Everyone thought a scrawny, weak kid like me was about to be beaten half to death. Who would have thought they'd see? Young Master Zhang sent flying with a single punch from me. That's right, literally sent flying. His back hit the ropes, bouncing him right back. He sprawled out on the canvas, flat on his face. Everyone was completely stunned. Young Master Chen was the first to react. He hurriedly ran to the edge of the ring near Young Master Zhang. He called out to Young Master Zhang as he spoke. Are you pretending to be a noob on purpose? Young Master Chen couldn't believe his eyes. The scene he had just witnessed with his own eyes made him think this was just one of Young Master Zhang's pranks. Young Master Zhang, lying face down on the canvas, had just taken my punch right to the gut. Now the pain was so intense that his insides felt twisted, especially with Young Master Chen standing there yelling, telling him to hurry up and get on his feet. He felt even more bitter inside. How could he possibly have any strength left? He literally couldn't get up. Young Master Zhang struggled internally for a good while. He gasped for breath a few times and finally managed to scramble to his feet. Only, his face looked absolutely awful. Young Master Chen was still yelling from below the ring. Young Master Zhang, teach him a lesson. Show him what real boxing is. At this moment, everyone in the club was looking at him. Some were filled with doubt. Someone was full of curiosity. Having no choice but to follow through, Young Master Zhang threw a punch and charged forward again. He thought his previous failure was just a momentary slip-up. He didn't expect this skinny guy to actually have some tricks up his sleeve. He had to get serious this time. So, Young Master Zhang put his all into it. But in the end, he couldn't even touch me, and was sent flying by my punch once again. This time, Young Master Zhang sprawled flat on the ground, completely unable to get up. Only then did everyone truly realize that I wasn't someone to be messed with. But so, what if I had a little skill? Seeing how useless Young Master Zhang was, Young Master Chen jumped into the ring himself. Let me teach this damn brat a lesson. Young Master Chen let out a loud shout and charged. Then he too was sent flying by my punch. His physique was even worse than Young Master Zhang's. One strike, and he was down for the count. Of course, that was also because I didn't hold back on him like I did with Young Master Zhang. It took Young Master Chen exactly 5 minutes just to stand up. After that, he stared at me with eyes full of caution. This time, neither of them dared to say I wasn't qualified to be a sparring partner, nor did they dare mention getting me fired. It wasn't until closing time at the club that I finally left. This body was quite average, even though I had rested plenty of times in between. Training for 4 hours straight had left me utterly exhausted. Returning to my rental room, as soon as I walked upstairs, I saw 2 people waiting by my door. Almost the exact moment I stepped onto the stairs, they spotted me. Father Chu spoke up first. Chu Fan, do you have any idea what time it is? Well, do you? We've been waiting here for almost 2 hours. Mother Chu looked exactly like someone whose beloved child had wounded her to the very core. Clutching her chest, she wore a look of heartbreak over a disappointing son. I heard you quit your part-time job, coming back this late. Could it be that you went to a bar to do some sort of shady work? Oh my God, how could you sink so low? You refuse to acknowledge us as your family, and willingly degrade yourself like this. As Mother Chu spoke, her eyes immediately grew red. I looked at the Chu couple blocking my door, expressionless, like someone, completely devoid of emotion, like a machine. Move, you're blocking my door. The Chu couple acted as if they didn't hear a word I said. They kept up their heartbroken, pitiful act and tried to persuade me with words that sounded oh so righteous. If you're short on money, you can just tell us. There's no need to humiliate yourself like this. No matter what you say, you're still a piece of our own flesh and blood. What if someone tries to harm you? I let out a cold chuckle. Aren't the ones trying to harm me exactly? Your family. And with a very clear motive too. You just want to steal my kidney. Mother Chu's eyes grew even redder. It's our fault for letting you live such a hard life since you were little. You've never seen the prosperity of a big city, which is why you're so easily led astray. I shrugged. My life was perfectly fine to begin with, but then you showed up, and now my life isn't so fine anymore. If you want me to live well, then just never show up in front of me again. Hearing this, Mother Chu's eyes welled up even more. You still have to work to pay for your tuition and live in this shabby little rental room. How can you call that living well? Now that Mom has found you, you don't have to worry about tuition anymore. You don't need to do part-time jobs either. Every day, you can be just like those wealthy young masters, living a life of leisure and freedom. I replied coldly, reaping rewards without doing any work, only knowing how to stick your hand out for money. And aside from shopping, not knowing how to do a single thing, living like a salted fish, that's your pursuit, not mine. At this moment, Father Chu finally spoke up, taking on a condescending tone. Society is very complicated. You're still a student. You haven't seen the true malice of human nature. Just come home with us. Whatever you want to do, we can support you. Mother Chu also hurriedly chimed in. Yeah, a kid like me living on the outside. You guys are so worried. You want me to go back to the Chu family with you. I sneered. More like you're worried this walking kidney of yours might run away, right? You'll only feel at ease keeping me right under your nose, won't you? Mr. and Mrs. Chu's faces instantly turned ugly, but they tried their best to hold it in. How could you think of your biological parents like that? As for your brother's illness, well, figure something else out. Besides, Chu Cheng is kind-hearted. He would never force you. I scoffed. Kind-hearted. He wouldn't force me. Of course, the male lead is kind-hearted. That's because he has everything handed to him. The female lead and the Chu parents are paving the way for him, clearing all the obstacles in his path. Naturally, he gets to keep his hands clean. From the perspective of a novel, Chu Cheng is an innocent, kind-hearted boy. The female lead is there to carry the weight of all the massive drama, but when Chu Cheng wakes up after the surgery and finds out the kidney he received is from his biological brother, what will his reaction be? Putting on a face full of guilt, he'll say, "How could you take my brother's kidney? If I had known it was my brother's kidney, I wouldn't have done the surgery even if I died." I scoffed inwardly. He probably knew all along that his parents were forcing his own brother. How could he not know that kidney was his brother's? He was probably an accomplice, deliberately pretending not to know. Unable to bear seeing Chu Cheng blame himself and feel guilty, they'd all take the blame upon themselves, one by one, saying it was all their fault. To save Chu Cheng, they could only be a little selfish. Besides, it's just exchanging a kidney. It's not like he's going to die. But losing a kidney was the only way Chu Cheng could live. In the end, he'd feel that they and the female lead all did it because they loved him too much. That's why they made such a choice. He couldn't blame them, so they'd hug each other and cry, and then he'd be deeply moved, thinking his family was enduring all the pain and suffering, and that this was the best choice they were forced to make. And what about me? After all, I just lost a kidney. It's not like I died. As for my wishes, a human life is on the line. Does my so-called wish even matter? Thinking of this, I spoke up. Whether Chu Cheng forces me or not has nothing to do with whether I want to return to the Chu family. I have my own parents. As for those so-called parents in name only, from the moment they abandoned me, they lost the right to be my parents. Mr. and Mrs. Chu looked awkward, but quickly put on a sorrowful expression. Chu fan, how could you think of us like that? We had no choice when we left you behind back then. I coldly cut them off. Did I force you to have no choice? Mr. and Mrs. Chu were left speechless again. I continued. If that's not the case, then go find whoever made you have no choice and settle the score with them. Why come to me? Stop trying to play the emotional card with me. You have no emotional value to me anyway. Only heartlessness. After I finished speaking, I pushed Mr. and Mrs. Chu aside, opened the door, and went inside by myself. The Chu couple still wanted to follow me and to say something, but I threw out a sentence that instantly made them pale. If you keep coming to my face to nag, talking about acknowledging our blood ties, or even try to use public pressure to morally kidnap me, then I wouldn't mind having a chat with the authorities about the crime of illegal organ trafficking. Bang. The door slammed shut. Mr. and Mrs. Chu stood outside the door with gloomy faces. Mrs. Chu was furious. How could this child be so selfish, she spat. Mr. Chu's face grew even darker. It's because he grew up in the countryside. That's why he developed such a greedy personality. Opening his mouth. It's all about money. He reeks of money from head to toe. Mrs. Chu continued. Chu Cheng is his biological younger brother. After all, Chu Fan is too selfish and self-centered. If he doesn't save him, and something actually happens to Chu Cheng, he won't have peace of mind for the rest of his life. In doing all this for his own good, why can't he just think it through? Hearing this, Mr. Chu said, if we can't talk some sense into him, then well, let someone else do it. I went inside. After taking a shower, I received another call from Fong Chang. He called to complain again about his strict manager, wanting to use my connections to find a better job, because I was the top university scorer. He used to ride my coattails to work part-time at the restaurant together every time he caused trouble. I was the one cleaning up his mess, now that I've quit and no longer work there. His nerdy ego ended up offending a customer, now has been fired by the manager. I hung up on him immediately. As for me, a top university scorer, the only reason I had to work as a restaurant waiter was all because of the Chu couple's scheming. At first, I took my admission letter and transcripts to a tutoring center to look for a part-time job. They nodded and agreed very happily at first, but the next day, they made up all sorts of excuses to go back on their word. Only the power of the Chu family could pull off something like this, claiming it was for my own good, that they didn't want me toiling away at a part-time job. They wanted me to go back to the Chu family and play the rich young master. Thinking about this, I couldn't help but sneer. I stick to waking up early every day to work out. Right on time. I head to the boxing club to train. My days are incredibly busy and fulfilling. At the same time, I monitor the situation of the male lead, Chu Cheng. The male lead is truly the male lead. Even with such a severe illness, he just won't die. The female lead, Yi Xiao, put him on some imported specialty drugs, making his condition much better. However, none of this has anything to do with me. As long as they don't target my kidney, we're good. At night, I continue hitting the punching bag seriously. I want to train this body's physical functions to their absolute peak, striving to fulfill the original owner's first wish. After 5 days of training, my physical fitness has significantly improved. It's him, the guy with fists as big as pork knuckles I told you about. While I was training, I heard a few footsteps approaching from behind. I glanced back and saw those rich kids I sent flying last time, the Chen and Zhang duo. They even brought along a young man half a head taller than them. Judging by the man's appearance and attire, it went without saying. Another big-shot rich kid. Young Master Chen pointed at me. Master Chen, that's him. Don't be fooled by his scrawny limbs. His strength is absolutely insane. I couldn't stop snickering to myself. Turns out he wasn't just a brother, but a whole master. Novels these days, to highlight the status of the male leads and supporting characters, they call themselves master at such a young age. Didn't even bother to ask if your grandpas would approve? Young Master Zhang chimed in at this moment. That's right, it's him. I swear he grew up eating spinach like Popeye. I chuckled. I eat wild greens. Thanks. That Master Chen was about 183 meters tall. At this moment, he was giving me a domineering, arrogant CEO glare. So you're the one who relied on pure luck to beat these two. The so-called sparring partner. My aura didn't lose out to his in the slightest. Luck is also a type of strength. Hearing this, he let out an arrogant, self-important smirk. Hearing this, Master Chen let out an arrogant, self-important smirk. His gaze turned into a standard pie chart. 50% disdain, 40% contempt, and 10% intrigue. Then I'll have to see if your luck is this good every time. Saying that, Master Chen cracked his knuckles and stretched. A sparring partner, then come spar with me. I want to see just how heavy your punches really are. After speaking, he raised his arrogant chin and strode toward the boxing ring. He clearly came looking for a fight, yet he still tried so hard to put on an aloof, aristocratic air. I let out a sigh. Since someone came begging for a beatdown, how could I not oblige him? So, I stepped into the ring as well. That Master Chen stood opposite me. He twisted his neck, shook out his legs, and threw a few shadow punches in the air. He spent a few solid minutes just posing. I was honestly getting bored watching him, so I just threw a punch and sent him flying. The bell already rang. You deliberately posed for me. Wasn't that just leaving yourself wide open for me to hit? Master Chen scrambled to his feet, wiped his nose. I didn't expect you to actually have some skills. I underestimated you. Just you wait. I won't hold back this time. Just looking at him pissed me off. So I rushed forward and gifted him a few more punches. That's what you get for copying that Li guy. You really deserve a beating. That Master Chen was sent flying once again, but he just wouldn't quit. He got back up and lunged at me again, only to get sent flying out of the ring once more. In the end, Master Chen was beaten into total submission. He couldn't even muster up any more of his flashy talk and poses. Master Chen, are you okay? His two lackeys hurriedly climbed into the ring to help him down. Fine. Master Chen domineeringly pushed the two useless rich kids aside, resting one hand on the back of the chair and pointing a finger right at my nose. Not bad. He wanted to pull off a really cool stand-up, but the moment his butt left the chair, he collapsed right back down, left with no choice but to stay seated. He spoke to me in a condescending tone. You're pretty good. It's a damn waste for you to be just a sparring partner. Saying that, he even raised a hand to slick back his messy hair. He was obviously an indescribable mess, yet he still tried to put on the facade of a domineering CEO. Just looking at him made me want to beat him up all over again. In promoting you to boxing coach, his face practically screamed, I think highly of you. After Master Chen said this, he didn't even care whether I agreed or not, and directly called the coach over. He felt that was such a massive favor. It'd definitely be moved to tears of gratitude. So he spoke to the coach in a commanding tone. Are you guys blind or what? Making a talent like this work as a sparring partner, and a trainee at that. Do me a favor. Promote him to an official coach. That tone of his made it sound like this boxing club was owned by his family. The coach didn't give him any face either. You need a certificate to be a coach. It's not just about knowing how to box. You also need to know how to teach people to box. On top of that, you need a certain track record. He knows how to box, but he's never competed in any matches. How could we sign him as a coach right away? Master Chen immediately threw a fit. I'm a diamond member at this club, and I own shares in it. Don't I have the right to appoint a damn coach? The coach sighed helplessly. Even if you have shares, everything still has to follow the rules. I don't need it. At this point, I spoke up and refused. Master Chen frowned. What do you mean by that? I've got an eye for talent. I'm helping you get promoted, and you're not even happy about it. If I want a promotion, I'll earn it with my own strength. It has nothing to do with anyone else. Don't be fooled by Master Chen's generous act of helping me. To be honest, he just wanted to justify his own defeat. At the same time, he wanted me to be grateful for his discovery of talent. If I relied on his charity to force a promotion, it wouldn't be proper procedurally. On the contrary, it'd end up owing him a massive favor. Would I have to walk on eggshells around him at work from then on? This Master Chen looked like a foolish young master, but he actually knew how to scheme. Meeting my profound gaze, Master Chen felt as if his little scheme had been seen right through. He suddenly felt uneasy inside, so he cleared his throat and said with a cold expression, Since you don't know what's good for you, then don't blame me for not giving you a chance. Later, let's go. Master Chen led those two rich kids and left. I continued my diligent training. The coach let out a sigh of relief and was even more satisfied with me. After that, I saw Chen Yi at the club every single day, along with his two rich kid lackeys. Every time they came, they sought me out as a sparring partner, and every time, it beat the living daylights out of them, getting beaten over and over. They actually felt like their skills had somewhat improved. At the very least, their ability to take a punch got way better. From now on, you're my exclusive sparring partner. Remember that you're Chen Yes Man now. If anyone tries to cause trouble for you, just ignore them. If anything happens, just drop my name. Every time Master Chen came, he'd spout classic lines typical of a prodigal young master, but I just looked at him like he was an idiot and went back to focusing on my boxing practice. That day, after I went home and took a shower, I received a call from my adoptive parents. Fan. We've arrived at the train station. Could you come pick us up? We don't really know our way around here. My adoptive parents are here. I thought about it seriously for a moment. It seems that in the original plot, not long after the original host moved to the big city for work, his adoptive parents came to visit because they were worried, but at a time like this, I immediately grabbed my keys and left the house. Not wasting any time, I hailed a cab straight to the train station. Even though it was late at night, the station was still packed with people. My adoptive parents were illiterate, their phones were old, and the reception wasn't great either. The call kept cutting out, so they couldn't clearly explain where they were. I directly called for my system, a Mo, and asked it to locate my adoptive parents. They were at the open-air parking lot by the northwest gate. And right now, I was at the southeast gate. As soon as I crossed the street and approached the parking lot entrance, I saw several people standing there from a distance. Aside from my adoptive parents, the Chu couple was also there. It was already past midnight, with only the parking lot lights illuminating the area. No one noticed my arrival yet. The Chu couple was draped in designer brands as always, looking glamorous and pristine. Meanwhile, the peasant couple standing opposite them wore simple gray clothes, their hair a bit messy, looking exhausted from their journey, and wearing cheap cloth shoes on their feet. They were both slightly hunched over, carrying various sizes of woven bags in their hands. The two couples standing together created a stark contrast. Before I could even get close, I could hear the Chu couple's harsh criticisms from afar. Our well-behaved son ended up in such a pitiful state in your hands. He didn't have enough to eat or wear since he was a kid, and didn't even have money for tuition. He started school 4 years later than his peers. He had the potential to be a top scholar, but he lost 4 years because of you. If it had been 4 years earlier, we could have discovered his existence sooner and brought him back earlier to be the eldest young master of the Chu family, so he wouldn't have had to suffer for so long. My poor child followed you and turned into a country bumpkin, reeking of a cheap and petty demeanor, always opening his mouth just to talk about money, knowing that my biological parents only brought me home because they wanted one of my kidneys. For my younger brother who had kidney failure, I flat out refused to acknowledge them as family, who knew they would directly contact a mediation TV show crew as soon as we got on stage. The host took the moral high ground to criticize me, constantly guilt-tripping me around the concept of filial piety. Chu fan, is it because your biological parents abandoned you when you were little that you harbor such resentment? A person must be forgiving and magnanimous. If you only care about your own feelings, then you aren't an outstanding person, and you don't deserve the title of top university scholar. As a child, you must understand your parents' hardships. You'll have children of your own one day, and your current behavior will make your kids feel that you are a narrow-minded person. The host, wearing an expensive suit, had one hand in his pocket and wildly gestured with the other, occasionally pointing right at my nose, using a condescending posture to condemn my coldness and selfishness. His harsh words stabbed into me like knives. If I didn't acknowledge them as my family now, I would face endless backlash from netizens, even the companies that had their eyes on a top scholar like me, wanting to sign me right after graduation, would lose all their goodwill towards me. However, I kept a cold expression. Are you done talking? The host froze, not expecting that after he said so much, I would still be this indifferent. Just as he was about to open his mouth to continue condemning me, he saw me glaring at him with a sharp, icy stare. Hey, this is a mediation show, right? The host paused, then instinctively replied, That's right, I scoffed. Since it's a mediation show, the mediator should consider things from both sides, perspectives, trying your best to make both sides happy. As for you, you're only speaking from that couple's perspective, constantly forcing me to accept their mistakes and forgive them for abandoning me. If I don't accept it, then my morals are questionable. Tell me, are you a judge or the moral police, judging someone's character with just one sentence, forcing me to acknowledge this couple of strangers who have never given me a single grain of rice or a sip of water and who have never once asked how I feel about it? Are these your morals as a TV host? Is this your professional standard as a mediator? Forcing one side to compromise like this? You shouldn't be called a mediator. You should be called a street thug. Whoever pays you is your master. Whoever pays you, you act as their hired thug. You completely rely on your personal preferences and values to conduct this mediation. You just speak up for whoever pays your fee. Acting as a mediator like this, are you worthy of the audience watching on TV? Let me ask you one last thing. Have you ever received any professional training? Do you have a relevant psychological counselor certificate? I suspect you're a triple no host. No qualifications, no morals, and no competence. The host was so furious he was about to lose it. I sternly cut him off. Shut up, show me your certificate before you keep talking. Otherwise, you have absolutely no right to stand on this stage. Where would this host even get a certificate? He made his name online in the past, purely relying on his glib tongue. Later, he took a shortcut. By intentionally criticizing celebrities, he acted like a fake whistleblower before becoming a TV host. I turned my gaze back to my biological parents. My cold stare made Mr. and Mrs. Chu tremble inwardly. How can you treat the host with such an attitude? He only said those things for your own good. Madam, you said you felt guilty for abandoning me and wanted me to come back so you could make it up to me properly. So how exactly do you plan to make it up? By letting me inherit the family estate. As far as I know, the Chu family still has another son, who is the legitimate heir. If I return, then it'll be the older brother. The position of heir should rightfully belong to me, shouldn't it? So you're begging so desperately today, just to get me to come home and inherit the family estate. The moment my biological mother heard this, she instinctively blurted out, How could that be? The Chu family belongs to Chu Cheng. There's no way you... Stopping mid-sentence, she realized the situation was going south. So she immediately changed her tone, putting on a pained and agonizing expression. Chu fan, I didn't expect that after all these years away from us, you developed such a greedy personality. You just got here, and you're already after the Chu family's assets. This is our fault too, for not being able to raise you properly since you were little. When you return to the Chu family, we will provide you with a better education to reshape your worldview. I remained completely unmoved by my biological mother's touching words, waiting for her to finish before replying. So, you guys just want to ease the regret and guilt in your own hearts, and don't care at all about what I want. There's no actual compensation either. It's all just empty talk. My biological mother was stunned for a moment, and her face immediately showed an even more hurt expression, as if she had just taken 10,000 points of damage. How could you think of us like that? We're acknowledging you again, because we want to make up for our past shortcomings with you. We're completely sincere. If you have any requests, just feel free to bring them up. I maintain a cold expression, sneering endlessly in my heart. Sincere my ass. They're just after my kidney. However, I pretended to be slightly taken aback. As if I'd been swayed by my biological mother's touching words, my expression carried a hint of anticipation. Really, you want to acknowledge me, and you truly want to make it up to me, planning to let me be the eldest young master of the Chu group and become the primary heir. I see, I've completely misunderstood you. My biological father kept a stern face and spoke earnestly. Chu Fan, our Chu family's enterprise is meant to be passed down to the most outstanding child. Cheng Cheng has received excellent education since childhood, has been nurtured under our care for so long, so naturally, he's the most suitable heir. As for you, well, use other ways to compensate you, letting you be a wealthy young master of the Chu family, so that you'll be well-fed and warmly clothed for the rest of your life. I cursed inwardly. Their so-called compensation is nothing but carving out one of my kidneys and locking me up, raising me like livestock. Look, you don't even need to work to have food, clothes, and a place to live. We're treating you very well. My biological mother put on a distressed face. This is for your own good. You don't have any experience. You can't manage a company. It would only put more pressure on you. I maintained a cold expression. But didn't the host just say that I'm a student from a prestigious university with excellent grades and a bright future? He said that I have this ability, entirely thanks to inheriting good genes from my biological parents. Since I inherited your excellent genes, how could I possibly fail at managing the company? I heard Chu Cheng only attends a third-rate business school with my little brother's grades. Managing a company must definitely put a massive amount of pressure on him. If I come back to the Chu family, I must certainly shoulder the responsibilities of the eldest brother and take up the mantle. My biological parents said in unison, a child raised by a countryside couple like you, what right do you have to inherit the company? Being able to return to the Chu family as a rich young master is something you should thank your lucky stars for. A child raised by farmers, having such wild ambitions, wanting to seize our family's assets, my biological mother couldn't hold back anymore. Glaring at the host standing nearby, the host immediately stepped forward, pointing at my nose and lecturing me with a stern tone. These are your biological parents, bound by blood, an inseparable familial bond, something that can't be measured by money. You receive a good basic education, even a college education, and yet all you can do is scheme for your parents' wealth. You've completely disgraced the face of countless college students. With behavior like yours, once you step off this stage today, you'll be despised by your elders tomorrow, looked down upon by your classmates, and you'll never be able to hold your head high for the rest of your life. The host spoke until his chest was heaving uncontrollably, his face flushed red. With such an overwhelming aura, an ordinary person would have been terrified long ago, but I remained completely unmoved, my expression calm. I received a good basic education, thanks to my adoptive parents, and thanks to the nation's welfare. I always keep in mind to repay my adoptive parents and repay my country. You mentioned thousands of college students. Did they sign a petition asking you to speak on their behalf? Or are you the president of some prestigious university, qualified to speak for millions of students? Chu Fan, we genuinely want to bring you back into the family. Your father and I know we've wronged you. We know there's resentment in your heart, but as a mother, I beg you, please give us a chance to make it up to you. Is that okay? I'm begging you. Seeing the host was useless, my biological mother played the misery card directly, lunging forward to hug me while sobbing uncontrollably. This time she wasn't like before, just quietly wiping away her tears. Instead, her tears poured out like the Yellow River bursting its banks. At the same time, an incredibly sorrowful background music began playing. Just hearing this music was enough to make even a calm person shed tears, let alone having a biological mother like this, acting out such profound grief and guilt, manipulating the audience's emotions. Sure enough, many guests and audience members present couldn't help but wipe their tears as well. Try to forgive them. They've already lowered themselves to beg you this much. They're in their 40s. Humbling themselves in front of so many people, it's not easy for them. In those times, they couldn't even feed themselves, let alone raise a son. They had no other choice. Now that they realize their mistake, they want to make up for it. It doesn't hurt to give them a chance. Almost everyone's sympathy was leaning toward my biological parents, but I felt completely detached from the atmosphere, feeling absolutely no emotion inside, while mentally contacting my system. AMO, changed the background music for me. Right after giving the order, I looked at my biological mother hugging me tightly, as if she wouldn't let go unless I forgave her. I patted her back as if to comfort her, except the force of my pats on her back was like slamming her with a hammer. My voice also carried a hint of hurt. I didn't know. It turns out you've been feeling this guilty and miserable all along. If that's the case, hearing this, my biological mother thought I had been moved by the atmosphere and cried even harder. It's all my fault. Give me a chance to make up for the mistakes of the past few years. I will definitely love and treat you well. Just as everyone thought I was about to forgive my parents and bring about a happy ending, the sorrowful background music suddenly stopped. The overbearing voice of my biological mother suddenly rang out. No matter what We must get Chu Fan to acknowledge us and make him agree to return to the Chu family with us. Cheng Cheng's illness can't wait any longer. Immediately after, the host's voice echoed throughout the studio. No problem. I guarantee I'll get Chu Fan to acknowledge you right here on the show. I'm a professional at this kind of thing. As for the compensation, we might need to renegotiate a bit. After all, he's a grown man, with his own independent thoughts. Persuading him will take a lot more effort. Plus, the situation is urgent, and it has to succeed on the first try. Anyway, your son is still waiting for his kidney transplant, isn't he? Then came my biological mother's voice again. I'll pay half the fee up front. The remaining half will be paid after the job is done. I'll transfer it to your other account, the recording studio. Instantly fell into a dead silence. The conversation kept playing, but the words that followed fell on deaf ears. Everyone's mind was echoing with words like severe illness and kidney transplant. The host froze for 2 seconds before snapping back to reality, frantically screaming at the backstage. Music! Music! Turn off the music. The audio guy rushed out from backstage, looking bewildered. What's wrong? I can't turn it off. Then pull the plug. The host dashed off the stage like a madman, frantically yanking out all the power cords. A tangled mess of cables, connected to all kinds of lights and cameras, got dragged down, crashing to the ground and tilting over, sparking and sizzling. The entire recording studio was in chaos. Several cameras and light stands collapsed on top of each other, with glass and plastic shards scattered everywhere. The studio plunged back into silence. The host was drenched in sweat. Everyone's eyes locked onto him, as if glaring daggers through him. So, you just wanted my kidney, and didn't genuinely want to make things right with me. Wearing a heartbroken expression, I covered my face with one hand, looking like I truly couldn't face any of this, and turned to run off the stage. When I ran past the host, I shoved him hard. Get lost, don't block my way. That shove of mine sent the host flying backward. He landed right in the tangled mess of live wires, followed by a loud, sizzling zap. Instantly, his entire body convulsed. The studio echoed with his frantic and grotesque screams, accompanied by the smell of burning hair. After leaving the production crew, I followed my memory back to my rented room. I had just finished the college entrance exams and hadn't enrolled yet, so I came to the university city to settle down and find a part-time job to earn some tuition money. Because I had just transmigrated into this body and hadn't fully synchronized with it yet, I felt a bit exhausted. I collapsed onto the simple little bed and drifted off to sleep, but not long after I dozed off, the doorbell started ringing like crazy. Annoyed, I groggily sat up and went to open the door. As soon as the door opened, I saw a breathtakingly beautiful yet incredibly arrogant face staring back at me. I froze for a moment. Before I could even figure out who it was, she had already pushed the door open and walked in, doing a quick sweep of the room, making zero effort to hide her disgust. She initially wanted to arrogantly take a seat on the sofa, but only spotted a cheap stool, and eventually gave up. The woman waved her hand and threw a stack of documents right at my feet. This is the contract. Sign it. I glanced down at it, unable to stop my brow from furrowing. It turned out to be a kidney sale contract. There was no need to ask. This had to be the arrogant, peacock-like female lead of this world. Yi Xiao, hurry up and sign it. Chu Cheng's condition. Can't wait any longer. Yi Xiao spoke, her cold tone leaving no room for argument. Like a high and mighty queen bossing around a servant, I didn't bother picking up the contract from the floor. Looking at Yi Xiao's condescending attitude, I couldn't help but want to grab a fruit knife and shave her head clean. Seeing that I didn't say a word, the fury in Yi Xiao's eyes burned even brighter. What is the money not enough for you? Before I could answer, she shot me another icy glare. You should know that you're just a prospective college student. You aren't even officially enrolled yet. My price is already double the black market rate. Don't push your luck. If you know what's good for you, sign it. Then come with me to the hospital right now. The money will be wired to your account immediately. Was she trying to force a sale? In the original plot, there was no kidney sale at all. Because the original owner was simply drugged and dragged onto the operating table, they didn't have to spend a single dime, even though the plot had changed now. The female lead's entitled look, acting like the original owner owed them, hadn't changed one bit. Thinking back to the original script, after the original owner woke up from having his kidney removed, what did the female lead, Yi Xiao, say? Chu Cheng is the man I love most in this life, and he will be the most noble man. Donating your kidney to him is totally worth it. We won't let you suffer any losses in the future. Me giving up a kidney for someone else is considered worth it, so keeping it in my own body is a waste. When the original owner said he didn't need any compensation, he just wanted his kidney back. What did the female lead say? Stop making a fuss out of nothing. Chu Cheng is the eldest young master of the Chu family. He is my man, Yi Xiao's man, and in the future, he will be the master of the Yi Corporation. He absolutely must have a healthy body. While you're just an ordinary college student from a rural village, at best, you'll spend your entire life working for others. Being able to trade a kidney for a lifetime of wealth and glory, you should be more than satisfied. Thinking of this, my temple kept throbbing. Get out, not selling. Yi Xiao acted as if she had just heard something utterly ridiculous. She sneered. You really are a country bumpkin from a rural village. Your greed knows no bounds. It'll give you another 2 million. The corner of my mouth twitched. Not selling. Yi Xiao gave me a look that said, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Another 3 million. Not selling. 4 million. The veins on my forehead bulged even more. Does this woman not understand human speech? Yi Xiao's face darkened with rage. 5 million. Not a penny more. Combined with the 5 million in the contract, that's already 10 million. I'll say it again. 1. Yi Xiao was truly furious this time. She took a step forward, pressing close to me, trying to oppress me with her superior aura, scheming to make me submit, but it felt like I had 100 layers of shields. I didn't feel the slightest bit of pressure from the female lead. After a few seconds of a standoff, Yi Xiao finally spoke up. Chu Fan, do you know the consequences of crossing me? Right now, I'm still negotiating with you nicely. If you agree, you can walk away with a massive sum of money. Money you wouldn't be able to earn in a lifetime. The woman narrowed her arrogant, contemptuous eyes. But if you don't know what's good for you, and keep pushing your luck, then don't blame me for getting ruthless. I shoved both hands into my pockets, looking at her in a relaxed, carefree manner. May I ask how exactly you plan on not being polite? Yi Xiao scoffed coldly. You haven't registered for enrollment yet, right? Do you know how many people get into accidents before the semester starts? Having their admission revoked before even starting school. Losing their status as a student at a prestigious university. You've studied so hard for so long. You wouldn't want all that effort to go down the drain right at the finish line, would you? I raised an eyebrow. Are you threatening me? Are you trying to force a sale? Yi Xiao scoffed coldly. She didn't spell it out, but her eyes made it perfectly clear. I looked at her like I was looking at a moron. Do you know that buying and selling organs is illegal? Yi Xiao looked at me like I was a joke. She didn't answer my question directly, but spoke arrogantly instead. There is nothing I, Yi Xiao, want that I cannot get, so you're intentionally breaking the law. I thought about it for a moment. In the original plot, the female lead always relied on power and dirty tricks, treating the law as if it didn't exist, treating all moral standards as if they didn't exist. Anyway, as long as it was for the male lead, as long as she could spoil the male lead, everything else could be trampled underfoot. My mouth twitched. She truly has no bottom line. Yi Xiao was truly out of patience. She felt that talking to me for this long was already a massive favor. Seeing that I was still stubbornly refusing to listen, she gestured with her hand, getting her men ready to come in and restrain me. To force me to sign the contract, Yi Xiao yelled directly at the door, "Come in." But then, several police officers appeared at the door. Seeing this, Yi Xiao was dumbfounded. The police directly asked who made the report, saying there was an illegal home invasion. It's me. I immediately raised my hand. Then I pointed at Yi Xiao. This person didn't just illegally trespass into my home. She also wants to force an illegal organ trade. There are a few of her goons standing outside too, ready to just rob me if they couldn't buy it. She is a prime example of the criminal underworld. Hurry and save me. After saying that, I hid behind the officers, curling up and trembling. Then I pointed at the contract on the floor. Look, that contract on the floor is the evidence. One of the officers picked up the contract. As soon as they saw it, their expressions turned cold. How outrageous. In broad daylight, you dare to commit such illegal acts? Arrest her. Yi Xiao frowned. Still maintaining her cold CEO aura, she arrogantly explained, Gentlemen, this is all a misunderstanding. The contract is invalid. It hasn't even been signed yet. I cut her off. If it were signed, that would be a disaster. If it were signed, you'd probably say we already made a deal, wouldn't you? And that business matters are not for the police to interfere in. When the police heard this, their faces grew even more serious. They stared right at Yi Xiao, like they were looking at a heinous criminal. Two officers even got into a ready stance, prepared to draw their weapons at any moment. But what did that matter to her? A cold, domineering CEO like Yi Xiao never took anyone seriously, so she coldly said, You want to arrest me? Well, see if you actually have what it takes. Then Yi Xiao scoffed coldly. The ones who had been standing guard outside, the bodyguards who were originally going to rough me up, rushed in all at once. Their imposing aura was overwhelming. Watching this move from Yi Xiao, I almost rolled my eyes out of my head. She's been the female lead for so long that she's used to being arrogant and bossy, acting like she owns the world, so she forgot that the people standing in front of her were law enforcement officers, the people maintaining public order. Sure enough, the officers moved in unison. They drew the weapons from their belts in perfect sync. Black muzzles aimed straight at Yi Xiao and her bodyguards. Those guys instantly froze in place. There wasn't going to be a fight anymore. In the end, Yi Xiao and all her bodyguards were escorted away. As they walked out my door, the police even kindly offered a few words of comfort, leaving their contact info. These dark forces are really running rampant nowadays. If you notice anything off, contact us immediately. Well, also assign someone to keep a close eye on you, in case these people try to seek revenge. I nodded. Thank you, officers. Then, facing Yi Xiao's murderous glare, I grinned broadly. Whether they have the guts to arrest you or not, you get it now, right? Yi Xiao gritted her teeth in anger. Chu Fan, you bastard. Just you wait. You dare threaten the victim right in front of us. You really think you're above the law? Take her back and investigate thoroughly. See if there are any other illegal activities. Yi Xiao and her accomplices were taken away. The world was finally at peace. I let out a yawn and went back to catch up on my sleep. The next day, following my memories, I headed to my part-time job. I came to quit. The original owner's greatest wish was to have a complete and healthy body. I felt that, as an outstanding high-level taskmaster, I should fulfill this wish of his even better. So I decided to quit and find another job. Right after I finished talking to the boss about quitting and walked out of the office, I immediately bumped into someone. Chu Fan, how did acknowledging your family go yesterday? Did it go smoothly? Have you become a young master in the wealthy elite circle now? That's so great. From now on, you'll have endless money to spend. A guy wearing a waiter's uniform appeared in front of me. He was about my age, looking exactly like a student working part-time for tuition. I searched through the plot's memories and realized this was the guy who tricked me into going to that show. As a result, I was cluelessly pushed onto the recording stage. Fang Chang, his words were full of admiration and congratulations, but he couldn't hide the sour stench of jealousy in his tone. There was even a hint of envy in his eyes. Fang Chang was just like me, also about to enter college. We were from the same hometown and would be attending the same school. Of course, the original owner was the top scorer in the college entrance exam, while Fang Chang barely made the cutoff. If a few more students had applied to this school, he wouldn't have stood a chance. Because of all these connections, we immediately became friends after meeting. We worked together and got along pretty well. I somewhat trusted him too. I just didn't expect him to trick me into going to that show, digging such a massive pit for me. What did Fang Chiang say afterward? I meant, well, you, a country bumpkin from a rural village. If you really were the lost young master of the wealthy Chu family, wouldn't you reach the sky in a single bound? Others would be dying of envy. I wish such a good thing would fall into my lap. Unfortunately, I don't have that kind of wealthy destiny. As your friend, I hoped you could reunite with your biological parents. I just wanted to help you. It was for your own good. I glanced at Fang Chiang's expression, seeing right through the blatant jealousy written all over his face. With such a petty mindset, envious that I turned into a rich young master overnight, why would he want to help pull the strings? He definitely received quite a bit of benefits behind my back. How much money did that couple give you? I stared at Fang Chiang coldly. Fang Chiang froze. He didn't expect me to be so blunt. His eyes wavered for a split second, but he quickly suppressed it. What are you talking about? I just hoped you could reunite with your biological parents, return to your family, and become a wealthy young master. Look at you now. Aren't you doing great? You're even here to quit your job. You no longer have to worry about a few thousand for tuition, while I still have to bust my ass working. Fang Chiang let out a sigh, his words dripping with jealousy. Could you put in a good word for me with your parents? Arrange an easy job for me, with a high salary at the Chu Corporation. I looked at Fang Chiang's face. He might not look like much, but how can he be so thick-skinned? I haven't acknowledged them as family. Hearing this, Fang Chiang looked at me in sheer disbelief, seeing that my expression didn't look like I was joking. A glimmer of relief flashed in his eyes, but right after, he put on a look of pity. Why wouldn't you acknowledge your family? That's the Chu family we're talking about, the local billionaires. I took a step forward, cornering Fang Chiang. My gaze was piercing, as if it could see right through his soul. Do you know why they suddenly want me back? Fang Chiang looked away, a bit uncomfortable. Isn't it just to find their biological son? What else could it be? Why did such a godsend happen to someone else? Other people would kill for a chance like this. Yet he's acting all high and mighty. Does he want to play hard to get? To make his biological parents feel more guilty, so they treat him even better later on. He's so young, but so scheming. The Chu couple went out of their way for him. Haven't they already shown their absolute sincerity in wanting their son back? Fang Chiang thought to himself, feeling even more contempt toward me. I advise you to be smart and just accept them. Don't push it too far. Be careful, it doesn't backfire on you. I cut him off. They want to take my kidney to save their youngest son. That kid has kidney failure. Fang Chiang froze for a second, but he quickly snapped out of it and said to me with fake righteousness, even so, you can't just disown your family. Blood relations, blood is thicker than water. Besides, that's your biological brother. If it's gotten to the point of a kidney transplant, he must be seriously ill. You're young and healthy. Giving up a kidney won't kill you. What's wrong with helping your own brother? Trading one kidney for a lifetime of wealth and luxury. Other people would kill for an opportunity like this. I sneered. Since you think it's such a great opportunity, why don't I give it to you? Fang Chiang immediately got worked up and retorted, how is that even possible? Of course not. I let out a mocking chuckle. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Kidney compatibility is all about luck, not just bloodlines. Who knows? Maybe you're destined for wealth and luxury. Let's go. We'll head to the hospital right now for a compatibility test. I'm sure the Chu family would be more than happy to pay for your exam, I said, stepping forward to grab Fang Chang. Terrified, Fang Chang backed away repeatedly and ran straight into the locker room of our workplace. I have to get back to work. I'm done talking to you. With a loud bang, he slammed the locker room door shut. As for me, I stared at the tightly shut door, sneered coldly, and turned to leave. After resigning, I immediately went looking for a new job. To build a healthy body, obviously, just eating and sleeping well wouldn't cut it. I also needed regular physical training. The best place for that was a gym. But for a gym to hire a trainer, I lacked the certification, and I had zero experience. So, after wandering around for a bit, I finally walked into a boxing club. In this little world, boxing was quite highly regarded. Many bored, wealthy young masters flocked here to practice boxing. Whether it was just to show off or actually train their bodies was a whole different story. The position I applied for was a sparring partner. A sparring partner needs to have a tough physique. My current body was just that of a regular college student, lacking any peak physical conditioning. But it wasn't frail and weak, like those pampered kids either. However, I possessed a powerful soul and spiritual energy. Even with an average physique, I could still wrap my body in spiritual energy to form a protective shield. The manager of the boxing club, seeing that I was just a scrawny young man who wanted to be a sparring partner, didn't waste a word and tried to kick me out. I stubbornly refused to leave, and eventually just hung myself on a nearby pull-up bar, dangling there for a full hour. Startling him, he finally agreed to let me give it a try. Even if you've got good arm strength, this job isn't something just anyone can do. You'll find out soon enough. The boxing club staff geared me up completely. After I put on the protective gear, the manager said that to me. Then the manager watched as I stepped into the ring. Just one punch sent my opponent flying out. Everyone was instantly stunned. Sorry, I accidentally countered. Let's do it again. I won't counter this time. I scratched my head, feeling a bit guilty, and told the interviewer. The guy who got knocked out of the ring was also a sparring partner. He had some boxing background. Being suddenly sent flying hurt his pride a bit. He quickly scrambled back to his feet. I wasn't ready just now. Let's go again. So, the two of us sparred for another round. This time, I consciously held back from countering, but I just kept dodging, and dodging. No matter what, my opponent couldn't land a single hit on me. Eventually, it frustrated him so much that he let out a furious roar. He swung his fists and charged at me with everything he had. I leaned to the side to dodge. He ended up crashing straight into the ring ropes and tumbled right out of the ring. Even though he wasn't hurt, it was completely humiliating. In the end, I was hired. This job didn't require me to work all day. I just had to come in for 4 hours in the evening. For someone about to start college like me, it was a perfect fit. When I got back to my rented room, I didn't have a computer, so I had to ask the system to help post some news online. The content was very simple, just 2 pieces of news. One was that the Chu Corporation had found their long-lost eldest son and was preparing to reunite with him. The other news was that Chu Cheng had uremia, needed a kidney transplant, but couldn't find a donor. These 2 posts obviously didn't explicitly mention any names, but they couldn't withstand the netizens' intense investigative skills. Someone even dug up my interview from when I was the top university scorer. In an instant, these 2 pieces of news went viral online, sparking countless speculations. The top university scorer turned out to be the Chu family's lost eldest son. The Chu Corporation reuniting with their eldest son was just to get a kidney for their youngest son. The eldest son trading his life for the youngest son's. In a flash, online comments blew up endlessly. While eating instant noodles, I used the system to enjoy the netizens' massive flame war. I thought to myself, the values of the netizens in this world are still pretty normal. Even though the protagonist's morals in this small world are a bit twisted, the vast majority of the public is still very rational. The system, Amo, spoke up at that moment. The protagonist's aura is very strong, but it only affects those around the protagonist. However, even just this is enough to warp the atmosphere of this small world, is enough to distort the atmosphere of this small world. I know, I said, slurping a big mouthful of noodles while chewing. I added, so isn't it up to me to step in and tear apart this protagonist aura to restore order to this small world? On the other side, Yi Xiao was taken away by the police, harshly lectured for 2 whole days, pulled strings everywhere, and paid bail. Before barely managing to get released, returning to Revilla, she furiously smashed every single decorative vase in the hall. This is absurd. Never before had anyone dared to play her like this. This was a blatant provocation. To think a college student barely stepping into the real world would dare to provoke her. The dignified CEO of the Yi Corporation. Somebody come here. Yi Xiao vented her rage on the butler and assistant. Only then did she start issuing orders. Send someone to drag Chu Fan here immediately. Also, contact S University and tell them to revoke Chu Fan's admission. The assistant standing off to the side was scared witless. He timidly asked, President Yi, what reason should we give? Yi Xiao shot him a cold, domineering CEO glare and said arrogantly, "Do I really need to teach you how to handle something like this? What's the point of keeping you as my assistant?" The assistant trembled. "Yes. I'll do it right away." Seeing the butler standing completely still, Yi Xiao shot him a cold glare. "What are you standing there for? Hurry up and leave." Seeing the assistant being reprimanded, the butler didn't dare say another word and immediately called a few bodyguards to step out. Just then, Yi Xiao received a call. It was from Chu Cheng. All her aggression seemed to vanish in an instant, turning into pure gentleness. "Okay, be a good boy. I'm heading to the hospital right now. Wait for me." Hearing that Chu Cheng missed her, Yi Xiao sped to the hospital like a bullet. When the attending physician saw Yi Xiao, he pulled her aside to speak privately. "His condition isn't looking good. If we can't find a kidney donor, I'm afraid he won't live past 6 months. Yi Xiao immediately grabbed the doctor's collar in a frenzy. "Doctor, if you don't save him, I'll bury this entire hospital with him." In the hospital room, Chu Cheng spoke up. "Sister Yi, is my brother really unwilling? Forget it. If he doesn't want to, I don't blame him. Even though I love him dearly, and I love Mom and Dad so much, I really wanted more time to stay by my parents and your side. But since my brother refuses, I can't just force him. I can only blame my own bad luck." Chu Cheng choked back tears as he spoke. Yi Xiao hurriedly grabbed his hand tightly. "You dummy. Don't say things like that. You're still young. You have a long life ahead of you. No matter how much money it takes, it'll definitely cure you." Pale, Chu Cheng bit his lip hard. "My brother isn't willing. We can't just take it by force. I'd feel so guilty if we did. Hez, my biological brother. After all, I really can't bear to force him to give up a kidney, just to trade for my life. But Sister Yi, I really don't want to leave you. I still want to get healthy, hold your hand down the aisle, become your husband, and grow old together with you. But in the end, I'm going to let you down. I'm sorry." Heartbreak was clearly written all over Yi Xiao's face. "Chu Cheng, I won't allow you to say such depressing things. Your body belongs to me. Your life belongs to me too. I won't let you die. So you're not allowed to die. Don't worry. I will definitely save you." Yi Xiao and Chu Cheng cuddled in the hospital room for ages. It was like a melodramatic deathbed parting. Meanwhile, outside the room, Mr. and Mrs. Chu listened to their entire conversation, wiping away their tears nonstop. As for me, watching all this unfold through the system's surveillance, I didn't feel the slightest bit moved or sympathetic. I just found it an absolute eyesore. You guys being severely ill might be real, but what does that have to do with me? It's not like I caused it. At that moment, I asked the system, Mo, tell me if I don't save the male lead, and he dies, will his protagonist's aura automatically vanish? Will the order of this minor world return to normal? Mo replied seriously. Not necessarily. The effect of the aura is incredibly strong. A minor interference like this won't have a massive impact. I was just asking, I said. I've completed quite a few missions anyway. Hoping the male lead would kick the bucket over this tiny intervention is fundamentally impossible. Back at the hospital room, the sappy conversation between Yi Xiao and Chu Cheng finally ended. "Chu Cheng, wait here. I'm going to find Chu Fan right now. No matter what methods I have to use, it'll definitely drag him out of hiding." After saying that, Yi Xiao took long strides and walked out. Her eyes were filled with unwavering determination. She looked as if she were about to do something incredibly heroic. With a cold and stern face, she instructed her assistant standing outside, "Hire some internet ghostwriters. Spread the news that Chu Fan refuses to acknowledge his biological parents. Make sure it goes completely viral, and subtly hint that has extorting them for money. Push it to the top trending searches. Turn him into the target of the entire cities." Outrage. She refused to believe that a naive brat who hadn't even stepped into society could withstand the crushing weight of public pressure. If he gets driven to suicide by cyberbullying, then that's even better. Then they wouldn't need to tie me to the operating table either. Also, tell the people at the company that Chu Cheng has a training schedule these past 2 days. Don't let the news of his illness leak out. Keep the fans and paparazzi from bothering him. My Chu Cheng is as precious as a pearl. I won't allow any random trash to disturb him. As soon as Yi Xiao finished speaking, a chaotic commotion echoed. From out in the hallway, several reporters carrying cameras rushed over. The moment they saw Yi Xiao standing there, they immediately quickened their pace. "Miss Yi, is it true that you and the artist under your company, who is also the young master of the Chu family, are dating?" Caught off guard, Yi Xiao was instantly cornered by the reporters. One reporter immediately spotted the nameplate with Chu Cheng's name outside the ward and became extremely excited. Just as the rumors on the internet said, Chu Cheng is severely ill and has been hiding it all along. Is that right? May I ask how critical the situation is right now? Does he need a kidney transplant? Someone famous online revealed that Chu Cheng wants a kidney from the biological brother he has never met. That's why he specifically sought out this relative. Rumor has it that the other party refused to acknowledge the family. So you guys even resorted to threats? May I ask if that's true? Then the reporters noticed Mr. and Mrs. Chu, and immediately half of the crowd swarmed them. Mr. Chu, Mrs. Chu, you've never mentioned before that you had an eldest son. Everyone thought the Chu family only had one young master, Chu Cheng. Could it be that because Chu Cheng needs a kidney now, you decided to bring him back? May I ask if you knew all along that this year's top scholar Chu Fan was your biological son, but never intended to acknowledge him until you needed him, that you considered acknowledging him? The sudden appearance of these reporters caught Mr. and Mrs. Chu, along with Ye Xiao, completely off guard. They had absolutely no idea how to respond. Their minds were entirely occupied with one thought. How did this information leak out? Who did this? Now that the matter has been exposed, how could they secretly harvest my kidney for Chu Cheng's transplant in the future? Because of this, Yi Xiao and the others were in a panicked frenzy. After struggling for a while, they finally managed to shoo the reporters away for now. Yes, shoo them away, not politely turn them away. The incident happened so abruptly that they simply didn't know what to say. They could only use forceful measures to drive everyone out of the hospital, although the reporters didn't get any concrete answers. They acted as if they had figured everything out, chattering excitedly as they rushed back to their newsrooms. Chu Cheng was awakened by the noisy reporters after learning that his situation was exposed online and maliciously speculated about like this. He immediately broke down into silent tears. Why am I already in this state? And people still want to throw dirty water on me. Those reporters, just to attract attention and farm traffic, will make up absolutely anything. My fans will completely misunderstand me. How heartbroken would my hardcore fans be if they found out? I hid my illness because I didn't want my fans to worry. It was just a white lie. If they go back and write nonsense, will my fans be even more worried? Still completely focused on others, you are truly too kind-hearted, too soft. Seeing Cheng this kind-hearted, even when maliciously speculated about, he still wholeheartedly thinks of others. She only felt an even deeper love for him, so she spoke up to comfort him. Don't worry, those reporters won't dare to write nonsense. I'll personally issue a warning to their companies. Just focus on resting and recovering. You shouldn't get too emotionally worked up. Yi Xiao lowered her head and gently kissed Chu Cheng's forehead. As soon as she turned around, her gentle gaze instantly turned to ice. Which companies did those reporters from just now belong to? How dare they come to the hospital to harass my Chu Cheng? Tomorrow, I don't want to see their companies exist in this world anymore. Watching this scene play out, I couldn't help but roll my eyes. Is this the classic domineering CEO, bankrupting a company on a whim trope? Too bad. Bankrupting a company isn't that easy, because this news was leaked by me through the system. They were all local reporters. Although Yi Xiao is a domineering CEO, she is only arrogant and bossy in this city. Anywhere else, who would even give a damn about her? In the end, Yi Xiao's melodramatic hospital stunt was still exposed to the public, since Yi Xiao and the Chu couple refused to explain. It practically confirmed the netizens' speculations. The online backlash grew increasingly fierce. Chu Cheng was also heavily affected. A few anti-fans even DM'd his Weibo directly, sending him some truly nasty messages. When Chu Cheng saw them while scrolling on his phone, he immediately burst into uncontrollable tears. I obviously didn't do anything wrong, so why are they cursing at me like this? Who even is this? I don't even know them. Did my brother intentionally leave comments to curse at me? He doesn't want to save me, and I don't blame him for that. But why would he maliciously smear my name? Yi Xiao and the Chu couple were absolutely heartbroken seeing him like this, and secretly cursed me to hell and back. If I had heard those words, I would have just scoffed. The situation they were facing right now, wasn't it exactly what the Chu couple had done to me? Using the TV show's influence to pressure me, forcing me to acknowledge Chu Cheng as my family. Did he not know about the Chu couple and me being on that show? Did he not know that if I refused, I would face absolute moral condemnation? He knew, but did he do anything to stop it? And then there was Yi Xiao, using public pressure to force my hand. A weak, lonely student like Chu Cheng, who had been her childhood sweetheart for over a decade. When she said she would handle everything, couldn't Chu Cheng guess what she was going to do? But did he ever utter a single word to ask about it? He let others do all his dirty work, while he just stood by, waiting to reap the benefits. Now that the truth has been exposed, his playing the I didn't know anything card, acting like an innocent victim when getting scolded. Because public attention was at an all-time high, Yi Xiao was forced to handle it personally, becoming insanely swamped in an instant. Now they've completely lost the upper hand. Naturally, they couldn't smear me online anymore. Just trying to clear their own names was already costing them a massive amount of effort. Yi Xiao angrily lashed out at her assistant again. That evening, I put on my boxing gear and stood in front of the punching bag, hitting it relentlessly. Two young men walked over together. One look and you could tell they were regulars here. Seeing my particularly small frame, they couldn't help but shoot me a few extra glances. After watching for a bit and seeing I had some decent technique, they approached me. Hey, new member, how come we haven't seen you around before? I didn't say a word, just kept punching. Hitting the bag with heavy thuds, the two punks instantly felt disrespected, and couldn't hold back their irritation. Listen here, newbie. Are you completely blind? Do you not know the hierarchy between regulars and newcomers here? At that moment, the coach who interviewed me rushed over, greeting the two guys with an eager and respectful attitude. I'm so sorry. This is our new intern's sparring partner. Hes clueless and didn't recognize young Master Chen and young Master Zhang, but since the other party had spoken up, I stopped what I was doing and looked over at them. The moment I turned around, my figure was fully exposed to them. The two spoiled rich kids couldn't hide their surprise. From the side, my boxing stance had looked so professional that they only noticed I was a bit short, never realizing just how scrawny I actually was. A sparring partner who's this skinny. Young Master Zhang looked me up and down in disbelief. Then Ma the coach, is this club running out of people to hire? Recruiting a bamboo pole to be a sparring partner? Are you guys trying to drive your members away? What a total joke. One punch from me and his face would cave in. Fire him already. The coach tried to explain, but those two only grew more arrogant. What are you even saying? This wet behind the ears brat actually passed the interview. Aaron, you just insulting us here. Seriously, it completely lowers the standard of all the members in this club. The coach was instantly put in a tight spot, on one hand feeling that I was a promising seed, both serious and hardworking. On the other hand, young Master Zhang and young Master Chen are both gold members of the club. We can't exactly ignore their opinions. At that moment, I spoke up. Whether I'm qualified to be a sparring partner or not, wouldn't a match clear that up right away? Saying that, I nonchalantly hopped into the ring. I fixed my gaze on those two pampered rich kids, my eyes completely calm. Who's going first? Young Masters. That rich brat instantly felt insulted. How dare a walking bamboo stick act so arrogantly, even with protective gear on? He figured he could beat me into the ground with his bare hands. Young Master Zhang was brimming with aggressive energy. Everyone thought a skinny, weak kid like me was about to get beaten half to death. To their surprise, I set young Master Zhang flying with a single punch. That's right, literally punched him flying. His back hit the ropes, bouncing him forward, and he landed flat on his face, completely sprawled out on the mat. Everyone was absolutely stunned. Young Master Chen was the first to react, rushing to the edge of the ring near young Master Zhang and asking, "Young Master Zhang, are you playing dumb on purpose?" Young Master Chen couldn't believe what he had just seen with his own eyes. Thinking young Master Zhang was putting on an act, young Master Zhang was lying face down on the ground, having just taken my punch straight to the gut, now feeling a pain so intense it felt like his guts were twisted in knots, especially with young Master Chen still standing there yelling, telling him to hurry up and stand back up, which only made him feel more miserable inside. He really wanted to, but he honestly couldn't even crawl up. Young Master Zhang struggled internally for a long time, gasped a few times, and finally managed to crawl back to his feet. Only his face was incredibly pale and ugly. Young Master Chen was still shouting from below the ring. Young Master Zhang, teach him a lesson. Show him what real boxing is. At this point, everyone in the club was looking at him, some with suspicion, some with curiosity. Since he was already in too deep, young Master Zhang raised his fists again. All right, that was just a moment of carelessness on my part. I didn't expect this skinny punk to actually have some skills. This time, I'm getting serious. So, young Master Zhang went all out, but as a result, he couldn't even touch me, and got punched flying once again. This time, young Master Zhang sprawled on the ground, completely unable to get up. Only then did everyone truly realize that I had some real skills. But so, what if I had some foundation? Seeing how useless young Master Zhang was, young Master Chen jumped into the ring himself. Let me teach you a lesson, you little punk. Young Master Chen roared and charged forward, only to be sent flying by my punch right after. His physique was even worse than young Master Zhang's. It took just one punch to keep him down for good. Of course, that was also because I didn't hold back on him like I did with young Master Zhang. It took young Master Chen a whole 5 minutes to stand back up, and he stared at me with eyes full of wariness. At this point, those two didn't dare say I wasn't worthy of being a sparring partner or demand my firing anymore. I didn't leave until it was time for the club to close. This body was quite average, and even though I took quite a few breaks in between, training for 4 solid hours left me completely exhausted. Returning to my rental apartment, I had just walked upstairs when I saw 2 people guarding my door. Almost the very moment I stepped onto the stairs, they spotted me. Mr. Chu spoke up first. Chu Fan, do you have any idea what time it is? Do you know we've been waiting here for nearly 2 hours? Mrs. Chu put on an act as if her beloved, pampered son had just broken her heart, clutching her chest with a look of utter disappointment. I heard you quit your part-time job, yet you're only coming back now. Have you been going to bars, doing that kind of shady, under-the-table work? My God, how could you sink so low? Not wanting to acknowledge us as your family is one thing, but to degrade yourself like this. As Mrs. Chu spoke, her eyes immediately grew red and teary. I looked at the Chu couple blocking my front door. My face was expressionless, like a completely emotionless robot. Move, you're blocking my door. The Chu couple acted like they didn't even hear me, keeping up their incredibly heartbroken expressions, and persistently persuading me, if you're short on money, I can tell you too, there's no need to stoop so low. After all, I am a piece of your own flesh and blood. What if someone tries to harm me? I sneered coldly. Aren't the ones trying to harm me your entire family? Besides, your goal is crystal clear. You just want to steal my kidney. Mrs. Chu's eyes grew red again. It's my fault. I let you live a hard life since childhood. You've never seen the prosperity of the city, which is why you were so easily blinded by it. I shrugged. My life was going perfectly fine, but the moment you showed up, it stopped being fine. If you want me to live well, just stop appearing in front of me. Hearing this, Mrs. Chu's eyes grew even redder. You still have to work part-time for tuition and live in this shabby rented house. How can you call that living well? Now that I've found you, you won't have to worry about tuition anymore, and you won't have to work part-time. You can live like the other wealthy young masters, carefree and comfortable, I replied coldly, reaping without sowing every day, only knowing how to ask for money, and apart from shopping, not knowing how to do anything else, living like a salted fish. That's your pursuit, not mine. Mr. Chu finally spoke up, with the tone of an experienced elder. Society is complicated. You're still just a student. You haven't seen the sinister side of human nature. It's best if you come home with us. Whatever you want to do, we can support you. Mrs. Chu quickly chimed in. That's right. You're still young and living out here alone. We're worried about you. Come back to the Chu family with us. I sneered. Are you just afraid your walking kidney might run away? You'll only feel at ease keeping it right under your nose, won't you? The expressions on Mr. and Mrs. Chu's faces instantly turned ugly, but they still tried to hold it in. How could you think of your biological parents that way? Well, figure out another way for your brother's illness. Besides, Chu Cheng has a kind heart. He wouldn't force you. I scoffed. A kind heart. He wouldn't force me. The male lead has a kind heart, because he already has everything, with the female lead and the Chu parents, clearing all the obstacles for him. Of course, he gets to play the innocent saint. From the perspective of the novel's narrative, Chu Cheng is a simple and kind-hearted boy. The biggest tragedy between him and the female lead is this illness. But after Chu Cheng wakes up from the surgery and finds out the transplanted kidney is from his biological brother, how does he react? With a face full of guilt, he says, "How could you guys take his kidney? If I had known it was my brother's kidney, I would rather die than have the surgery." I thought to myself. He already knew his parents went on a TV show to claim me, yet he somehow didn't know the kidney he received was from his brother. He definitely knew but deliberately pretended not to. The female lead Ye Xiao and the Chu parents, unable to bear seeing Chu Cheng blame himself and feel guilty, took turns pushing all the blame onto themselves, saying it was all their fault. To save Chu Cheng, they could only sacrifice me a little bit. Besides, they only took one of my kidneys. It wasn't like I was going to die, but without a kidney, Chu Cheng wouldn't survive. In the end, Chu Cheng felt that the female lead and his parents just loved him too much, which is why they made such a choice. He couldn't blame them. So, after feeling guilty for a few minutes, he was completely relieved. From beginning to end, it was only their family suffering inner torment. This was the best choice they were forced to make. And what about me? I only lost one kidney, after all, and I wasn't going to die. As for my wishes, human life is more important. Is that wish really that important? Thinking of this, I spoke up. Whether Chu Cheng forces me or not, and whether I want to return to the Chu family has nothing to do with it. I have my own parents. As for my biological parents, the moment they abandoned me, they lost the right to be my parents. Mr. and Mrs. Chu looked ashamed, but quickly put on a pitiful expression. Chu fan, how could you think of us like that? We had no choice but to abandon you back then. I coldly interrupted them. Did I force you to have no choice? Mr. and Mrs. Chu were left speechless again. I continued, since I didn't, then go find the one who forced your hand and settle the score with them. Why come looking for me? Don't play the family card with me. You never had any affection for me anyway. All you have is heartlessness. With that, I pushed Mr. and Mrs. Chu aside and opened the door to my apartment. They tried to follow me inside to say something else, but I said one thing that instantly made them pale. If you keep coming to nag me, talking about acknowledging me as your son, or even try to use public pressure to morally kidnap me, then I wouldn't mind sitting down with the authorities to discuss the crime of child abandonment. Bang, the door slammed shut. Mr. and Mrs. Chu stood outside with gloomy faces. Mrs. Chu was furious. How can this kid be so selfish? Mr. Chu's face grew even darker. It's because he grew up in the countryside. That's why he developed such a greedy nature. He opens his mouth just to talk about money and reeks of filthy lucre. I'm only doing this for his own good. Why can't he just understand? Mr. Chu said. If we can't talk some sense into him, then let's have someone else do it for us. After going inside and taking a shower, I got a call from Feng Chang. He complained again about the manager being too strict, wanting to use my connections to find a better job. Because I was the top-scoring university student, he piggybacked on my reputation to work part-time at the restaurant. He messed up several times and I always had to clean up his mess. Now that I've quit and no longer work there, He couldn't keep up the act of being an intellectual, arrogantly offended the customers, and just got fired by the manager. I hung up on him immediately, and as for me, a top scorer. The only reason I had to work as a waiter was because of Mr. and Mrs. Chu's dirty tricks. At first, I took my admission letter and transcripts to a tutoring center to find a part-time job. They gladly agreed at first, but went back on their word the next day with all sorts of excuses. Only the Chu family had the power to pull something like that. They called it doing what's best for me, claiming they didn't want me to work too hard and wanted me to return as the wealthy young master of the Chu family. Thinking about it made me sneer. Every day, I insisted on waking up early for a jog, and in the evening, I went to the boxing club to train. My days were incredibly busy and fulfilling. At the same time, I kept an eye on the male lead, Chu Cheng. The male lead is the male lead after all. Even with a terminal illness, he still couldn't die. The female lead, Yi Xiao, somehow found an imported specific drug for him, which significantly improved his condition. But none of that had anything to do with me. As long as they didn't target my kidney, we were fine. That night, I continued my rigorous boxing training on the heavy bag. I had to hone my body to its absolute peak. I worked hard to fulfill the original owner's first wish. After 5 days of training, my physical condition had noticeably improved. That's him, the guy I told you about. The sparring partner with fists the size of pig trotters. While I was practicing my punches, I heard footsteps approaching from behind. I turned around to look and realized it was those good-for-nothing second-generation rich kids the Chen and Zhang duo had knocked out the other day. They also brought along a young man who was half a head taller than them. Judging by his looks and attire, he was obviously another wealthy young master. Young Master Chen pointed at me. Master Chen, that's him. Don't be fooled by his scrawny looks. He packs a serious punch. I sneered inwardly. Looks like he's not playing the big boss anymore. A master, no less. Nowadays, in novels, to highlight the status of the male leads and supporting characters, they call each other master at the drop of a hat. Despite being so young, without even asking if your grandpas would agree to it, young Master Zhang chimed in. Right. It's like he grew up eating spinach or something. I sneered. I grew up eating wild weeds. Thanks. This Master Chen was about 183 meters tall and was giving me an arrogant, domineering CEO glare. Are you the lucky sparring partner who beat these two? My aura wasn't the least bit inferior to his. Luck is also a kind of skill. Hearing this, Master Chen let out a crazed, arrogant smirk. His eyes shifted into a standard pie chart. 50% disdain, 40% contempt, and 10% amusement. Then I'll have to see if you'll have such good luck every single time. With that, Master Chen rolled his wrists and cracked his neck. Sparring partner, right? Then come spar with me. I want to see just how heavy your fists are. Saying that, he arrogantly lifted his chin and strode toward the boxing ring. He clearly came here to box, yet he kept trying to act all cool and aloof. I let out a sigh. Since someone came here trying to save face, how could I not grant his wish? So I stepped into the ring as well. This Master Chen stood across from me, cracking his neck again, bouncing on his feet and throwing a few shadow punches. He posed for several minutes straight. I really couldn't take it anymore, and sent him flying with a single punch. The bell already rang. You posing like that, was it just to leave yourself wide open for me to hit? Master Chen hurriedly scrambled up, wiping the blood from his nose. Didn't expect you to actually have some skills. I underestimated you. Just wait, I won't hold back this time. He was such an eyesore, so I rushed forward and punched him a few more times. Are you trying to copy Bruce Lee's moves? You're just asking for a beating? Master Chen was sent flying out of bounds once again, unwilling to accept defeat. He got back up and continued attacking me, only to be knocked flying yet again. Eventually, Master Chen was beaten out of breath. He couldn't even muster the energy for his pretentious words and poses anymore. Master Chen, are you okay? His two lackeys hurriedly climbed into the ring to help him down. Fine. Master Chen aggressively shoved the two useless rich kids aside. He leaned one hand against the back of the chair and pointed a finger right at my nose. Not bad. He wanted to stand up in a really cool, stylish way. But the moment his butt left the seat, he collapsed right back down. He was forced to just sit there, speaking with the tone of someone who just caught a severe beating. You're pretty good. It's a damn shame for you to be a sparring partner. After saying that, he reached up to fix his messy hair. He was clearly in a pathetic, miserable state, yet he still tried to pull off that domineering CEO vibe. Seeing that just made me want to beat him up all over again. In promoting you to be an official boxing coach. How about it? Master Chen gave a wicked, devilish smirk, his face practically screaming. I've got my eyes on you. After Master Chen spoke, without even caring whether I agreed or not, he directly called the coach over. He felt like he was bestowing some massive blessing upon me, and that I should be weeping tears of gratitude, so he ordered the coach in a commanding tone. Are you guys blind or what? You let a talent like him work as a sparring partner, and a trainee at that. Do me a favor, and make him an official coach. His tone made it sound like he owned this entire boxing club. The coach didn't give him any face either. To be a coach, you need a professional license. It's not just about knowing how to throw a punch. You also need to know how to teach others. On top of that, you need a solid competitive record. He knows how to box, but has never participated in an actual match. How could we think to dime as a coach right away? Master Chen instantly flared up. I'm part of this club, a member, and I even own shares in it. Don't I have the right to appoint a coach? The coach replied helplessly. Even if you have shares, we still have to follow the rules. I don't need it. I spoke up, rejecting the offer. Master Chen frowned. What do you mean? I have a good eye for talent. I'm helping you get promoted, and you're not happy about it. If I want a promotion, I'll earn it with my own strength. It has nothing to do with anyone else. Don't be fooled by Master Chen's supposedly generous offer. In reality, he just wanted to legitimize his own defeat, and at the same time, make me grateful for his talent-spotting favor. If I relied on his charity to climb the ranks, not only would it be against the rules, but it also owe him a huge favor. Would I have to walk on eggshells around him at work from now on? This Master Chen might look like a fool, but he was actually pretty calculating. Seeing my dark gaze, Master Chen felt as though all his schemes had been completely seen through, and naturally felt a bit awkward, so he cleared his throat and said with cold arrogance, "Since you're so ungrateful, don't blame this young master for not giving you a chance in the future. Let's go." Master Chen left with his two rich cronies. I went back to practicing my punches seriously. The coach heaved a sigh of relief and grew even more satisfied with me. After that, I saw Chen Yi at the club every single day, along with his two rich boy lackeys. Every time he came, he demanded I be his sparring partner, and every time, I beat him to a pulp. After getting beaten up so much, they felt their skills had improved quite a bit, or at least, their ability to take a beating was much stronger. From now on, you're my exclusive sparring partner. Remember this well. You're under the protection of Chen Yi. If anyone gives you a hard time, you don't even need to pay them any mind. Just drop my name if there's any trouble. Every time Chen Yi came over, he would spout all kinds of classic rich kid nonsense, but I just looked at him like he was an absolute idiot and went back to focusing on my training. That day, after heading home and taking a shower, I received a phone call from my adoptive parents. Fan, we've arrived at the train station. Could you come pick us up? We're not very familiar with the roads here. My adoptive parents were here. I thought about it carefully. It seemed that in the original plot, not long after the original owner started working in the big city, his adoptive parents came to visit out of worry, so it was already time for this event. I grabbed my keys and left the house immediately, because the cell signal was spotty. They couldn't clearly explain where they were for a while. I directly called out to the system, Mo, and asked it to locate my adoptive parents' whereabouts. They were in the open-air parking lot outside the northwest gate, while I was currently at the southeast gate. As I crossed the street and approached the entrance to the open-air lot, I saw a few people standing in the distance. Besides my adoptive parents, the Chu couple was also there. It was already past midnight, with only the parking lot's floodlights illuminating the area, so no one noticed my arrival at first. Mr. and Mrs. Chu were still draped in designer brands, looking dazzling and glamorous. In contrast, the rural couple standing across from them wore simple, dark-colored clothes, their hair a little disheveled, looking travel-worn and exhausted. Wearing cheap cloth shoes on their feet, both were slightly hunched over, carrying a bunch of woven nylon bags. With the two couples standing next to each other, the contrast couldn't be more striking. Before I could even get close, I could hear the Chu couple's resentful scolding from afar. Our perfectly fine son ended up so miserable in your hands. He wasn't fed or clothed properly since childhood, and you couldn't even afford his school fees. He had to start school 4 years later than his peers. As a top-scoring prodigy, and you completely held him back for 4 whole years. If it had been 4 years earlier, we would have discovered his existence sooner and brought him home earlier. To be the young master of our family, he wouldn't have had to suffer for so long. My poor, pitiful child. Following you made him look like a country bumpkin, acting so incredibly petty and cheap, only ever talking about money. Money. Just look at the two of you, covered in dirt, completely illiterate, not even knowing how to hail a cab. Yet you made Chu Fan come all the way to pick you up. People like you will only hold him back in the future. Mrs. Chu kept blaming my adoptive parents, one sentence after another, for not taking good care of me, making me live a life of misery. It was as if without my adoptive parents, I would have grown up as a wealthy, noble young master. They didn't even bother to think that if my adoptive parents hadn't picked me up, I would have died a long time ago. As for being the top scorer in the college entrance exam, that would have all been nonsense. At this moment, my adoptive parents hung their heads low, a deep sense of inferiority radiating from their very bones. You're right, it's because we're incompetent and couldn't give our son a better life. Their voices weren't loud, but they were full of self-blame and guilt. Hearing this, Mrs. Chu's voice grew even louder, feeling even more justified. Since you know you're useless and aren't fit to be his parents, you should just let him return to the Chu family. Just as their eyes welled up with tears and they were about to speak, I shouted, I refuse. With that, I took a large step forward, shielding my adoptive parents behind me. Is this how adults should act? My adoptive parents, still exuding a sense of inferiority, hurriedly looked at me and tried to persuade me. Chu Fan, these are your biological parents. Just be a good. I interrupted their advice with a firm tone. I only have the parents who raised me for over 20 years and cared for me with all their hearts. I don't have selfish parents who, for the sake of a comfortable life, would throw their child away by the river like that. Outsiders who don't know the truth might advise me to acknowledge them, but you two are the last people who should be telling me that, I said calmly, my piercing gaze locking firmly onto Mr. and Mrs. Chu, who gave birth to me, but didn't raise me, and yet you blame others for not taking good care of your child. Now that I've been raised by someone else and have achieved success, you want to swoop in and reap the benefits. There's no such free lunch in this world. Hearing me say they were swooping in to reap the benefits, Mr. and Mrs. Chu's faces immediately grew a few shades uglier. My attitude was tough, my words firing off like a machine gun, unable to argue back. They shifted their gazes to my adoptive parents, hoping they would continue to persuade me. Mrs. Chu's pitiful look made my adoptive mother soften a bit. She spoke up. Chu Fan, they are your elders after all. I interrupted her once again. Even if they genuinely wanted to reunite with me, it would still depend on my own wishes, let alone the fact that they aren't genuine at all. They're after my kidney. Seeing that I had even exposed this, Mr. and Mrs. Chu immediately tensed up, but I didn't give them a chance to speak. Sneering, I pointed at the supercar behind them. Mom, Dad, you probably don't know this, but this couple's youngest son has kidney failure and needs a transplant. Right now, my kidney is the only match for him. They're trying every trick in the book to get me to go home, not to reunite with me, but to forcefully take my kidney to save their precious son. When hearing this, my adoptive parents turned pale with fear. By reflex, they immediately shielded me behind their backs. At this moment, their sense of inferiority was still present, but their instinct to protect me made them stronger. They both glared warily at Mr. and Mrs. Chu, as if looking at a pack of ruthless bandits. Mr. and Mrs. Chu felt humiliated. It's a misunderstanding. We have no intention of taking Chu Fan's kidney. We'll find another way to treat Chu Chang's illness. Our family has plenty of money. We'll definitely be able to find a kidney donor. We genuinely want to welcome Chu Fan back and let him be the eldest young master of the Chu family. Hearing these words from Mrs. Chu, my adoptive parents couldn't help but waver a bit. Honestly, seeing how easy my adoptive parents were to talk to, Mr. and Mrs. Chu, she quickly continued to persuade. Of course, it's true. Chu Fan, if you come back to the Chu family, you'll have endless pocket money, your own supercar, and servants waiting on you wherever you go. Bang. Before Mrs. Chu could finish, a loud crash suddenly echoed from the back of the car. The two of them jumped in fright, turning their heads to look, only to see I had smashed my fist hard into their supercar. The front hood instantly caved in. If you want to play happy family, that's your business, but if you think it'd actually buy it, you're insulting my IQ. Get lost. Otherwise, you'll end up exactly like this car. You. Mrs. Chu was so shocked. She stuttered, unable to form a complete sentence. I don't have a good temper. If you keep nagging, I won't mind posting this recording online. With one hand still pressed against the hood, I held up my phone with the other and played the audio. It was the exact clip from the reunion show. The private conversation between the host and this couple. The Chus were dumbfounded. They couldn't fathom how I got my hands on that recording. My adoptive parents finally snapped out of their daze, their faces turning deathly pale, and rushed forward to shield me protectively. Just go home. Our Fawn fan will never accept you. Even if he agreed to, we would absolutely forbid it. The Chu couple plunged into a momentary panic, leaving them no choice but to scurry away. Only my adoptive parents and I were left in the parking lot. They were still seething with anger. How could they do this? Did they seriously do that? Despicable. So despicable. My adoptive parents weren't very educated, so they were too furious to even utter a proper curse. They kept repeating the same few phrases over and over, but I could feel their raw anger and deep love for the original owner. My heart felt a pang of emotion. These were real parents. They knew how to put themselves in their child's shoes. They knew how to compromise for their child's better future, and they knew how to be furious when their child was wronged. I don't give a damn about being a rich young master. Whatever life I want, I'll fight for it myself. I don't need anyone's charity, and I certainly don't need to use dirty tricks to take shortcuts. The day that couple abandoned me, they lost the right to be my parents. No matter what they say in the future, just ignore them. If they ever come to bother you again, just tell them you'll sue them. My adoptive father nodded solemnly. Right, we should stay far away from those rich folks. We don't expect you to be wealthy and powerful, or some rich young master, as long as you're healthy and safe. That's enough. Meanwhile, the Chu couple got back into their luxury car. Their inner panic had subsided quite a bit. Mr. Chu's face looked terrible. That brat is way too extreme. He keeps thinking we're out to get him. I have no idea where he got that recording from. Let's figure out how to delete the recording he has first. Well, find a chance to have someone swap his phone. Mrs. Chu let out a heavy sigh. That's all we can do. They returned home. They were still scheming how to delete the recording I had, but the very next day they found out the audio had been leaked online, and it wasn't just the audio. Even the raw, unedited footage from the show's crew was fully exposed on the internet. In an instant, the Chu group became the target of public outrage. They were ruthlessly cursed at all over the internet. Even their own employees were gossiping about their shameless behavior. The Chu couple was so furious they almost coughed up blood. There was no point in worrying about the recording now. Even the video was already out there, and it wasn't posted by some random personal account. It was published by several media outlets with significant influence. They tried to pressure the platforms to delete the posts, but to no avail. Furthermore, with their character called into question, the company's public image took a massive nosedive. The Chu couple was thrown into total chaos. Enraged, they directly called me to interrogate me. "Didn't you say you wouldn't leak the recording? How could you go back on your word like that?" I calmly replied, "Did I ever say that?" Mr. and Mrs. Chu were getting a headache. It seems I really never said that, but they clearly left the parking lot as I demanded. How could I not play by the rules? I sneered, even though the Chu couple had left. It was hard to guarantee they wouldn't come back to bother my adoptive parents. I couldn't always be by my parents' side, so I had to find something to keep the Chu couple busy. Humans really shouldn't have too much free time. Too much free time just leads to causing trouble. While this is great, let the Chu couple stay busy. As for Yi Xiao, I had always kept an eye on her. She was busy every day with company affairs and managing Chu Cheng's PR crisis. She still had to squeeze out some time to act out a life-and-death parting scene with him. Every time they met, they had to cry a river. It was really an eyesore. 5 days later, my adoptive parents came up from the countryside again. "We found a job at a factory in the city. If that couple ever comes to bully you again, well, chase them away with a broom." It turned out that after my adoptive parents went back, the more they thought about it, the more worried they got. They simply leased out their farmland, sold the old house, and moved in with me. They wanted to be able to take care of me all the time. Regarding this, I didn't say anything. It was their loving intention. I just told them I was taking professional training classes. Because every time I finished, I changed clothes at the club before going home, and I didn't have any injuries on my body, so my adoptive parents didn't suspect a thing. During this period of time, I also received a call from the university administration. They had seen the news online as well, and specially called to ask if I needed any help. They said they could make an exception for me and let me move into the dorms right away. I could even defer my tuition fees, but I turned them down. I was doing fine on my own. I couldn't help but feel a bit emotional. Even strangers knew how to care about me, while the biological parents who constantly talked about owing me and wanting to make it up to me were only fixated on my kidney. Good thing the original owner didn't have any feelings for them. I kept bumping into blind fools who tried to provoke me, and without exception, I beat the arrogance right out of them. For some reason, I even managed to gather a bunch of fans. Even the club owner came over in person to watch, witnessing my boxing skills firsthand. Today, I had just finished training and was about to rest when young Master Zhang and young Master Chen immediately surrounded me, offering me tea and water, while casually asking for some boxing pointers. "Is anyone going to spar with me?" Suddenly, a voice came from outside the door. A beautiful woman, with a perfect figure, strode in. She also brought a burly man with her. Right after, the coach stepped forward to greet her. "Boss Yi, haven't seen you in a while. What brings you here today?" The crowd around us was buzzing because of Yi Xiao's appearance. Sure enough, the female lead brought a shining halo wherever she went. Yi Xiao didn't notice me. Her face was full of impatience. She was in a bad mood. The public opinion about her company still couldn't be completely suppressed. The Chu couple couldn't even fend for themselves, yet they still wanted to seek her help. One thing after another, Yi Xiao was feeling frustrated. She didn't want to go to Chu Cheng and make him worry, so she thought she'd check out the boxing club and punch away the gloom in her heart. As soon as Yi Xiao finished speaking, the man beside her stretched his muscles a bit and jumped straight into the ring. Everyone was a bit surprised. He wasn't even wearing gloves or protective gear. The regular sparring partners looked at each other. No one dared to enter the ring. They all knew that Yi Xiao's man wasn't just her bodyguard. He was a diamond member of the club. Invincible around here. 10,000 yuan a match? Who's going first? Seeing that no one stepped up, Yi Xiao couldn't hide the disdain on her face at all. "You guys are a bunch of cowards." I felt a deep sense of contempt in my heart. Isn't it just because he isn't wearing protective gear? Everyone's afraid you'll knock him out cold, and then you turn around and feel embarrassed, letting someone else bankrupt you in an instant. Can you have a little self-awareness? To think it's actually Yi Xiao. What is wrong with her today? She hasn't been to the club in ages, and she makes such a grand entrance the moment she arrives. At this moment, young Master Zhang, who was standing next to me, couldn't help but mutter. I retorted, "Is her brain ever normal?" Young Master Zhang and young Master Chen looked shocked. "Bro, don't tell me you know CEO Yi." After saying that, a look of realization dawned on them, that Yi Xiao is a prestigious young lady. After all, It's perfectly normal for you to know, CEO Yi. But I advise you to drop it. Even though she's beautiful and rich, I seriously suspect there's something wrong with her head. She always acts like she's the center of the universe, as if the whole world is her mother, and everyone has to pamper her. You need to keep a clear head. Don't be seduced by that vixen-like appearance of hers. I was a bit surprised inwardly. It's rare to find someone this level-headed, young Master Chen whispered, adding a sentence. We and Yi Xiao are enemies. You're someone Chen Yi cares about. You absolutely cannot get too close to Yi Xiao. I suddenly understood. So they're the antagonists? No wonder their brains are still functioning. What? Is there no one? Yi Xiao was still screaming, her voice full of impatience. 20,000 a match. Hurry up. Don't waste my time. At this point, I looked over at her. Just who is wasting whose time here? Is 20,000 yuan a lot? Acting like everyone is desperate for it. With that said, I was the first to jump into the ring. I wore headgear, so my face was partially covered. Yi Xiao didn't recognize me right away. Of course, in the eyes of the female lead, other than the male lead, all other men look exactly the same. It was perfectly understandable she didn't recognize me. Looking at my build, since when did this club fall so low that they have to recruit a twig like this as a sparring partner? I didn't feel insulted at all, and said casually, if your guy can't beat this twig later, don't go crying about it. Yi Xiao's face instantly darkened. She jerked her chin at the man in the ring. The man understood. Without even waiting for the referee to call the start, he threw a punch straight at me. And then, this so-called boxing king was sent flying with a single punch from me. How far did he fly? He flew straight out of the ring and sprawled on the ground. Everyone suddenly realized that I had been holding back against them earlier. Young Master Zhang and young Master Chen couldn't help but gulp hard. Everyone was completely dumbfounded, including Yi Xiao, doubting whether they had stumbled into an anime scene by mistake. Someone really could be sent flying like that. It turns out that the way I knocked them away before couldn't even be called flying. It could only be called a tumble. The scene was far too shocking. A crowd gathered around the man. Someone couldn't help but bend down and poke his back with a finger, like a corpse coming back to life. The man suddenly sprang up. His face was terrifyingly dark. Her own fighter got knocked out cold with a single punch. To Yi Xiao, this was an absolute, humiliating disgrace. Get back up. After Yi Xiao gave the order, the man climbed back into the ring, flashing me a very well. You just wait, look. Only this time, Yi Xiao told her people to equip him with headgear and gloves, but the result was exactly the same. I sent him flying once again. My punches were highly technical. Every time the man was sent flying, it didn't hurt him much physically, but the level of humiliation was off the charts, so he stood up countless times, only to be sent flying countless times, until it finally became completely boring. Ultimately, I was the one who got tired of hitting him, and struck him directly in his vitals, ending only when he was in so much pain he couldn't even stand. Yi Xiao felt utterly humiliated. She stood there frozen for a long time. Finally, with her gloomy, twisted CEO face, she walked right up to me. You dare offend me? I held out my hand to her. 300,000. Yi Xiao frowned deeply. What are you talking about? You're the one who said 20,000 per round. Now it's exactly 300,000. No more, no less. Don't tell me the great CEO Ye is a sore loser who won't pay up. At this moment, everyone's eyes were fixed on Ye Xiao. She felt completely disrespected. Yi Xiao was furious. She gritted her teeth and said, Do you have any idea who I am? Of course I do. I smirked. My defeated opponent. Someone in the crowd couldn't hold back a snort of laughter. Yi Xiao's face looked even uglier. In her 20-plus years of life, this was the second time she had been humiliated like this. The first time was when I called the cops, making her take a trip to the station for a cup of tea. Everyone was staring intently at Ye Xiao, since she was the one who made the offer. Yi Xiao could only swallow her anger and cough up the money. Fine, you're good, just you wait. I happily took the cash, completely treating Ye Xiao's words like the wind passing by my ears. After Yi Xiao stormed off with a livid face, quite a few people immediately gathered around me. You've offended CEO Yi. She won't let you off the hook in the future. You better be careful. This CEO Ye is petty and narrow-minded, not to mention wealthy and powerful. Watch your back when you head home these next couple of days. If worst comes to worst, just go apologize to her. Back down. We live in a lawful society. Besides, she was the one who named the price. I just got into the ring based on her terms. She has no reason to do anything to me. Apologizing is completely out of the question. Seeing my naive look of someone who hadn't experienced the world's cruelty, the crowd couldn't help but shake their heads and sigh. Not long after Yi Xiao came back, she walked up to me with an icy expression, giving me that same look that looked down on the whole world. You're fired from the club as of right now. Don't bother coming in anymore. I crossed my arms over my chest, looking completely fearless. Did you open this club? Does whatever you say go? The coach nearby couldn't hold back and tried to speak up for me, but as soon as he opened his mouth, he got dragged down too. Yi Xiao gave him a contemptuous look. You're the blind coach who recruited him, right? You don't need to come in anymore either. The coach was so furious, his face turned green. I maintained my fearless expression and continued provoking Yi Xiao. Turns out CEO Yi is such a sore loser. If you can't handle losing, you should have just said so earlier. I could have just raised my hand and surrendered. It would have saved everyone's time. Poof! Someone couldn't hold it in and burst out laughing. Are you trying to get my attention? At this thought, Yi Xiao put on a disdainful face. Drop that idea. I will never look twice at a vulgar, ordinary man like you. Seeing her narcissistic face, I couldn't hold back and delivered a ringing slap to her face. The sharp smack echoed throughout the entire club. You've got some serious nerve. My response to Yi Xiao was another slap. Everyone in the club was dead, silent. No one dared to make a sound. Seeing Yi Xiao get slapped, they inexplicably felt a bit of satisfaction. They had disliked Yi Xiao for a long time. They just didn't dare say anything because of her power and influence. Now that someone actually had the guts to provoke a tyrant like Yi Xiao, it was incredibly satisfying to watch. After slapping her, I felt incredibly refreshed. Then I casually called the police. Yi Xiao didn't care at all that I was making a call. She had me surrounded in the club, acting extremely aggressive. Yi Xiao's eyes were filled with murderous intent, and as a result, she was taken away again. The charge was abusing her power to bully others and causing a public disturbance. In the end, the whole group was taken to the station for questioning. Everyone from the club obediently cooperated, sitting quietly as they waited to be interrogated. Only Yi Xiao continued to put on an arrogant front. Her tone was absolutely obnoxious. This time, he's the one who deliberately assaulted me. Hurry up and arrest him. Throw him in jail for a year or half a year or something. Eventually, everyone else at the club left, leaving only Yi Xiao and me. The police asked me, "Did you hit Miss Yi here?" I put on an apologetic face. I did it. Yi Xiao instantly slammed the table. She pointed right at my face and started screaming. He just admitted it himself. Why aren't you locking him up already? What are you standing around talking nonsense for? Watch out, or I'll file a complaint against all of you. The police officers got angry as well. This was a blatant provocation of their authority. What kind of attitude is that? Believe me, I'll send you packing right now. In the end, because Ye Xiao refused to cooperate with law enforcement and insulted the officers, she was detained. As for me, after a brief lecture, I was released. As I was leaving, Yi Xiao, I even reached out and patted her on the shoulder. Reflect on your actions well over the next 2 days. When you get out, make sure to turn over a new leaf, start your life anew, and stop bullying people with your power. After all, you never know if you're kicking a rusted piece of scrap or hitting a solid iron plate. Yi Xiao was so furious, her face turned green. Just earlier, while taking statements, when the police asked for my name, she finally found out who I was. Damn it, because of this incident, I suddenly became an idol at the club, especially among those rich second-generation kids and spoiled heirs. Now they look at me like I'm some kind of god. No difference at all. They never liked Yi Xiao to begin with. The moment she's slightly displeased, she threatens to bankrupt someone's entire family. Does she think her family owns this entire city or something? Someone even secretly recorded the scene of Yi Xiao getting beaten up and secretly passed it around non-stop. Word spread like wildfire. Very quickly, members of all the local boxing clubs got their hands on the clip. When I found out, I asked for a copy too. Then I kindly forwarded it to Chu Cheng. After Chu Cheng received it, he immediately called Yi Xiao. But Yi Xiao was currently reflecting behind bars, so how could she pick up? The call didn't go through. Chu Cheng then went to ask Mr. and Mrs. Chu, but they knew absolutely nothing. They were busy worrying about the company. Even their visits to the hospital to see Chu Cheng had decreased. How could they be in the mood to care about Ye Xiao? Most importantly, their company was practically crashing and burning. Yet Yi Xiao didn't even step in to help them resolve it. This caused the Chu couple to feel a bit dissatisfied with Ye Xiao. Chu Cheng couldn't get accurate news from anywhere, and started his usual melodramatic routine again. Chu Cheng cried continuously for 2 days. He cried so hard he ended up in the emergency room. Only then did it alarm Mr. and Mrs. Chu and Yi Xiao. Yi Xiao had just gotten out of the police station. She was planning to come back for revenge, but hearing that Chu Cheng was hospitalized in the ER due to extreme grief, she got terrified and rushed over immediately. What is going on? He was perfectly fine. Why did he faint? Wasn't he on imported specialty drugs? Didn't they say his condition was already stable? That he could hold on for another year or 2 to wait for a kidney donor. The attending physician offered Ye Xiao a suggestion. He might be suffering from depression. I advise you to find a psychologist to counsel him. Yi Xiao was quite startled upon hearing this. Her precious Chu Cheng actually got depression. And so, Mr. and Mrs. Chu, along with Yi Xiao, went looking for the best psychologist. At this moment, I was sitting and resting in a corner of the club, conveniently enjoying the photos of Yi Xiao getting beaten up. Just then, the system Mo spoke up. Master, ever since Yi Xiao was beaten, her female protagonist aura has decreased by half. Hearing this, I thought seriously. So does that mean if I beat her up a few more times, her aura will completely disappear. So does that mean if I beat her up a few more times, her aura will completely disappear? The center of the world will no longer revolve around the male and female leads, and normal order can be restored? Ah Mo retorted. You can't use the same method forever. Besides, she lost her aura last time mostly because she brought it upon herself, causing a scene even after being taken to the police station. I waved my hand. I'm just joking. I am a civilized person. I don't always resort to throwing fists. Right now, I was a heavyweight figure at the club. Today, the big boss personally came to talk to me. Next month, there will be a boxing match. Next month, there will be a boxing match. If you want to gain a foothold in the boxing world, you should give it a try and see. My first reaction was, is there prize money for winning? The champion gets 100,000 yuan. Hearing that, my eyes lit up. I'm in. In the blink of an eye, the school semester started. Thanks to Yi Xiao generously bleeding her wallet, I already had enough money to pay my tuition because of my excellent grades. Combined with the buzz online, I received special attention from the teachers right after enrolling. I also caught the eyes of quite a few classmates. I stayed very calm and collected. When there were classes, I attended them. When there weren't, I buried myself in the library or went to the teachers to ask questions. In the evenings, I went to the club and trained seriously. At the same time, I had the system monitor the male and female leads. The male lead was exactly that, the male lead. Specialized medicine. With the support of the specialized medicine, his body was getting healthier by the day. He could even go home to recover. Ever since Chu Qing broke down and cried hysterically from his depression, Yi Xiao hired a psychologist for him, and a foreign-educated psychologist, no less. Since she was a supporting female character who interacted closely with the male lead, the psychologist was, of course, young and beautiful. After she spoke with Chu Cheng for a while, she concluded that he was suffering from mild depression. If there was no timely intervention, it would sooner or later turn into severe depression. By then, treatment would be very complicated. This made both the Chu family and Yi Xiao extremely anxious. They wished they could just turn into loyal guard dogs, staying by Chu Cheng's side 24/7. Under everyone's care, Chu Cheng got better day by day. He became much more cheerful too, with his mood improving. Even his complexion looked much better. Thank you, Dr. Chu. I feel much better lately. Chu Cheng was taking a walk in the villa's garden. Standing next to him was a woman in a white blouse, clean and professional, looking every bit like the sweet girl next door. She was the psychologist, Chu Jun. Chu Jun's face was filled with a gentle smile. It seemed like just looking at her face could cure all illnesses. No need to thank me. This is what I should do? Dr. Chu, I have a request that's hard to ask. Chu Cheng spoke up, looking a bit troubled. Chu Jun let out a soft, wry smile. Just call me Chu Jun. There's no need to be so formal between us. If you need anything, just say it straight. If it's within my power, I'll definitely do my best. It's like this. I have an older brother. Our whole family sincerely wants him to come back, but he seems to have a prejudice against us and always thinks we're out to harm him. He treats us with violence every single time. I'm so worried about him. Chu Cheng didn't spell it out completely, but Chu Jun's brain automatically filled in the blanks. Are you suspecting that he has psychological issues? Do you want me to take a look and help him? Chu Cheng bit his lip lightly, saying apologetically, if it's too much trouble, then forget it. Saying apologetically, if it's too much trouble, then forget it. After all, this is my family's private matter. Chu Jun showed the utmost concern. Your business is my business. There's no such thing as being too much trouble. Someday I will find him and have a little chat to check on his condition for you. Thank you, Dr. Chu. Chu Jun flashed a gentle smile. Don't say thank you to me. I'm doing all of this voluntarily. It has nothing to do with you. After saying that, the atmosphere became noticeably more ambiguous. I came home from school, planning to head to the club to check in after dinner. My adoptive parents didn't work overtime today. They had come home early to cook dinner for me. Before I even stepped through the door, I could already smell the fragrant food, but at the same time, there was the presence of strangers. I pushed the door open, only to see a crowd of people gathered in our simple rented house. Besides my adoptive parents, there were also Chu Cheng, Yi Xiao, and Chu Jun. Seeing me return, Chu Cheng was the first to stand up. Chu Jun gave me a gentle look, gave me a faint, indifferent glance. He looked calm on the surface, but there was a hidden coldness inside. And Yi Xiao, needless to say, her eyes looked like she wanted to rip my tendons out, skin me alive, and hack me into 100 pieces. I remained perfectly calm, seemingly oblivious to the murderous intent in the air. Looks like another illegal trespassing is about to happen. Yi Xiao was just about to retort when Chu Cheng spoke up first. Brother, I'm Chu Cheng. We haven't officially met yet, but I've always cared about you. Thanks. But I don't give a damn about your care. The moment I opened my mouth, I shut Chu Cheng right up. As the male lead, Chu Cheng, had he ever been treated like this before? He choked on his words for a moment, looking a bit at a loss. Chu fan, don't push it. Chu Chang has always thought about you. He even came to visit you while sick. What the hell is with that attitude? You guys lust after my kidney every single day. So what kind of attitude do you expect me to have? Do you really think the world revolves around you? Yi Xiao was left speechless too. Next contestant, please take the stage. Hello, Mr. Chu fan. Right, my name is Chu Jun. I'm a friend of Chu Chang's. I came here today mainly to talk to you, to chat about your identity. I know you have some misunderstandings about the Chu family. Who the hell do you think you are? Trying to butt into another family's business. The name Chu Jun was all too familiar to me. In the original plot, I was locked up in the Chu household. Chu Chang suspected I had psychological issues and found me a psychologist. It was exactly this Chu Jun chick. At first, she treated me with gentle care, making me open up to her. Despite myself, I told her all my inner thoughts, even treating her as a lifeline to escape the Chu family. And the result, Chu Jun was vicious. She acted like a caring older sister in front of me and said she wanted to help me. But in the end, she turned around and handed me a psychological diagnosis report, claiming I was mentally unstable, with violent tendencies and an antisocial personality, and that I needed to be strictly confined. After that, she even took my plan to write an expose on the Chu family and snitched to the male and female leads. I want to acknowledge you as my biological brother. I want to treat my biological brother well. If you refuse to have a proper conversation with me, then you're just holding a grudge against me. If I don't get your forgiveness, I won't feel at ease, and I'll be heartbroken and sad. Right now, that gentle face of Chu Jun looked like a pile of dog shit in my eyes. Chu Chang has found a suitable match. Hearing this, everyone in the living room froze for a second. Yi Xiao and Chu Chang looked at each other and said nothing. Damn it, this bitch, just to win the male lead's favor, could actually spout such high-sounding nonsense. Chu Jun continued to smile gently. What do you need to calm down? Just say it. Whatever we can do, we will definitely do it. Hearing this, I immediately shot up from my seat, silently rubbing my palms together. You asked for this. Seeing this action of mine, a bad feeling naturally welled up in Yi Xiao's heart. Chu Jun didn't notice anything wrong, nodding and saying, as long as Mr. Chu speaks up, I will definitely. Then I won't hold back. Having said that, I slapped Chu Jun right across the face, knocking her completely senseless on the spot. A guy like me, whenever I'm in a bad mood, loves hitting people the most. Just one beating, and my mood instantly gets better. If one beating isn't enough, then two. Sooner or later, I'll feel relaxed. I kept slapping her as I spoke. That's for pretending to be so refined. That's for using your profession to hook up with rich guys. But I'm not done. You even go out of your way to harm victims. Caught off guard. Chu Jun's face was battered with pain. My biological parents tried to speak up to stop me, but seeing my fierce look, she swallowed her words back. Yi Xiao, still traumatized by the beating she took earlier, coupled with the selfish mentality of romantic rivals, could only keep her mouth shut and not say a word. Chu Chang originally wanted to stop me, but with his frail body, how could he even try? Just one glare from me made his legs turn to jelly. In the end, he could only fix his gaze on Yi Xiao. Xiao, please help Chu Jun. Yi Xiao felt extremely uncomfortable, and her face showed obvious helplessness. Miss Chu said it herself. As long as it can calm your brother's anger, she would do anything. Right now, she's sacrificing herself for you. If I intervene, wouldn't that be betraying her good intentions? Don't you want Chu Fan to forgive you anymore? Hearing Yi Xiao's words, Chu Chang felt it made sense, so he didn't say anything else, just turned his face away, not daring to look anymore. I slapped Chu Jun a solid few dozen times, only stopping when my hands got tired. Mr. Chu, are you satisfied now? Chu Jun clutched her face, swollen like a pig's head, yet still tried to put on a gentle and kind demeanor. It was such an eyesore. I couldn't hold back and gifted her 2 more slaps. Looking at your pig head face suddenly ruins my mood again. If you know what's good for you, get out of here. Otherwise, I'm calling the cops to report you for trespassing. As soon as Yi Xiao heard about calling the cops, she was triggered by her past trauma. She hurriedly took Chu Cheng away. The male and female leads had both left, so how could Chu Jun have the face to stay? Before leaving, she glared at me like I was a death row inmate. Mr. Chu, you will pay the price for what you've done today. My response was, swinging a fist the size of a sandbag right at her. Chu Jun's heart skipped a beat, and she hurriedly ducked her head and ran away. Hurriedly ducking her head to run away. Fan. That Miss Chu seems to have quite the background. You beat her up today. Will there be any trouble? She's just a lunatic, having nothing better to do, so she came running here begging to be hit. Don't worry, you two. It'll be fine. My parents, despite their worry, couldn't do much about it. They could only remind me repeatedly, telling me to be careful, to always keep my phone on me, and to call the police immediately if I was in danger. I listened seriously and continuously nodded in agreement. 2 days later, a medical report that cost a lot of effort and money ended up in my hands. It stated that I had severe violent tendencies and an antisocial personality disorder and needed to take a leave from school for treatment. Without a doubt, I knew this was Chu Jun's doing. My homeroom teacher looked at me with concern, with great grades and a humble, eager-to-learn attitude. The school originally wanted to treasure me like a gem, but before I even started, I was forced to acknowledge my relatives, then targeted for my kidney, and now I was being falsely accused of being a psychopath. What did they take this school for? I smiled and shook my head. I will handle it myself. Thank you, sir. I deeply appreciated his help in my heart. What I got in return was me representing the university in the National College Student Knowledge Competition. The male and female leads group were all shocked. Was the school brain damaged? It seems they had to resort to other dirty tricks. And so, on the exact day I represented the school in the competition, an article about me having severe psychological issues was published online because the poster was Q Jun, a rather well-known figure. In the field of psychology, it immediately attracted the attention of many in the industry. At that moment, my team had just won first place, the top university scorer leading a team to a knowledge competition and winning first place, while simultaneously, the news about my past family acknowledgement drama and being forced to donate a kidney under the heavy promotion of a paid internet troll army was twisted into a narrative where the Chu family actually didn't need my kidney at all, and it was all due to my own issues. Honestly, I'm a bit speechless. Is that even possible? Are netizens' brains short-circuiting these days? No, it's not that the netizens lack intelligence. It's just that the power of money is truly too overwhelming. They use money to crush everything, with a horde of paid trolls constantly steering public opinion. And of course, there are the keyboard warriors, deliberately jumping on the bandwagon for clout. So for now, the internet's public opinion is being led by the nose by the trolls. The system, Mo, asked, need me to do anything. I remain very calm. No need. Just let them be. Even though it looks like I am at a disadvantage right now, I don't care at all about the actions of these brain-dead main characters. They're completely relying on their plot armor to hold on, wasting it like this. They'll drain it completely sooner or later. In the evening, I still went to train at the club as usual for the past 2 days. Because I was taking an academic competition, I couldn't make it to the club. Brother Fan, why haven't you been here these past 2 days? I missed you to death. I gave them a dull glance. You haven't been beaten up for 2 days, so you miss me. Young Master Jiang and young Master Chen couldn't help but rub their faces, not getting beaten by me for 2 days. They really weren't used to it. Young Master Jiang wanted to chat with me more, casually bringing up a topic. Oh right, word spreading online that a top university scorer is a mental patient. He has violent tendencies, and even suffers from persecution, paranoia. And that guy even has the exact same name as you. I casually put on my boxing gloves. Yeah, it's not just the same name. We're the same person. Young Master Jiang clapped his hands. What a coincidence. Young Master Chen froze for a moment, repeating it with a bit of uncertainty. You're saying you're the same person? Yeah. I finished putting on my gloves, walked over to the punching bag, and started throwing punches. Young Master Jiang and young Master Chen looked at each other, both seeing the disbelief in the other's eyes. Then, they both leaned in closer to me, continuing to chatter. I can't believe you're the top university scorer. It's really hard to imagine. I always thought people who box were simple-minded, all brawn and no brains, just blockheads. I answered while throwing punches. That's you guys, not me. Young Master Jiang nodded vigorously. Right, that's me. That's me. Brother Fan, from now on, you're my idol. I stopped what I was doing, my gaze falling on the two of them. What do you guys think about those rumors about me online? Young Master Jiang and young Master Chen immediately shook their heads. They're definitely fake. How could Brother Fan be a mental patient? I think the person who wrote that post is the real psycho, who would just casually throw around some professional jargon online to diagnose someone as mentally ill. Anyone could do that. By the way, Brother Fan, do you want to sue them for defamation? Chen Ya's company has some really top-notch lawyers, guaranteed to sue them until they're left with absolutely nothing. Hearing what they said, I pondered for a moment. I stopped boxing, grabbed my phone, sat aside, and scrolled through it. Sober comments were already starting to appear online. Sure enough, these brain-dead tactics, even heavily shielded by money and plot armor, won't hold up for long. So I called out to the system. Mo, has the male and female leads aura diminished a bit now? Not just a bit. It's dropped so much, there's only a third of it left. I rubbed my chin. Isn't there still a third left? What are you planning to do? I looked up at young Master Jiang next to me. Young Master Chen, how much are the legal fees for the lawyer you two just mentioned? After that, I sued Chu Jun. The grounds were malicious defamation, an invasion of privacy. The very moment she received the lawyer's letter, Chu Jun's mind snapped into a moment of clarity. Why did I post my psychological analysis results online? This is not something a qualified psychologist. To think the truth turned out like this, he was so petty and vindictive. Not only did he do that, but she had even been smug, feeling like she had done Chu Cheng a huge favor, while Chu Jun was doubting herself. She saw Chu Cheng with a face full of self-blame. It's all my fault. If it weren't for helping me, you wouldn't have received a lawyer's letter. How could my brother do this? We just wanted to help him. Yet he's so heartless. Even hiring a lawyer. This isn't just about paying a fine and getting locked up for a few days anymore. It will impact Chiu Jun's future career. It will ruin Chiu Jun's future career. With such a massive stain on her record, she definitely won't be able to work as a psychologist ever again. When Chu Jun was arrested and taken away, she didn't even get a single word of comfort from Chu Cheng. This made Chu Cheng blame himself even more. Seeing this, Mr. and Mrs. Chu along with Ye Xiao comforted him for a while and pinned the blame on me again. Thus, Chu Cheng quickly calmed down, but he still asked Ye Xiao for help, at least to keep Chu Jun out of prison. This put Ye Xiao in a tight spot. The company's issues hadn't even been resolved yet, and now there was this mess with Chu Jun. Furthermore, Chu Jun's situation was tied to them, causing the company's reputation to plummet by half all at once. All sorts of vicious rumors surfaced. The rumors about an improper relationship between Chu Cheng and Ye Xiao hadn't even been fully quelled, and now there was a love triangle thrown into the mix. In the end, Chu Jun had her psychology license revoked, was sentenced to a month in prison, and had to pay me a hefty sum for emotional distress. After hearing the news, Chu Cheng cried so hard he almost ended up in the hospital. Meanwhile, I trained in boxing seriously every day. A month later, in the local boxing scene, a small-scale boxing tournament was held. Each club sent 3 people to compete. Unsurprisingly, I was recommended to enter. And just as unsurprisingly, I won the championship. As a result, the Regional Boxing Association noticed me, immediately invited me to join, and even recommended me for the provincial tournament. I didn't turn them down. The original owner had 2 wishes. One was to have a strong and healthy body, and the other was to live his own life well. These 2 things could be achieved at the same time. With my status changed, I no longer went to the boxing club. Instead, I had a more professional training facility and specialized coaches to guide me. It's just that by doing this, I couldn't hide it from my adoptive parents anymore. Every day when I came home from training, my adoptive mother would inspect me thoroughly from head to toe. Seeing the bruises on my body, she would ache for me for a while, but at the same time, she felt proud. After all, her son had made it into the provincial association. My days were incredibly busy, studying hard, training hard. My boxing skills improved by the day. Soon enough, even my coach was no match for me. On the other side, due to a series of setbacks, Chu Cheng grew increasingly depressed. This time, there was no beautiful young psychologist to enlighten him. Ye Xiao and Mr. and Mrs. Chu were also busy to the point of breaking their sense. They couldn't even fend for themselves. So there was no one left to gently comfort him. He just whimpered and cried all day long, and eventually had to be hospitalized. Tens of millions spent on imported specialty drugs went down the drain. After a round of checkups, they found his condition was much worse than before. The doctor was forced to issue an ultimatum. If a kidney still couldn't be found, Chu Cheng wouldn't live past half a year. Furthermore, if he continued to disrespect his body and exhaust his health, then even with a new kidney, he wouldn't survive the physical toll of the surgery. This scared the living daylights out of Chu Cheng. He didn't dare shed another tear, bottling everything up inside. Ye Xiao was extremely anxious too, and so began another melodramatic scene of life and death romance.